Yeah!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your Mission Impossible Final Reckoning review, if you choose to accept it. I'm the one with a parachute, Trasnell, and I'm joined by...
I am the president's son, Kirkland Patzer.
I am the Mr. Taylor Field.
Yes. Lots to talk about. Obviously, links below for everything you need to know. We got lots going on. We just finished Andor. We're about to finish Last of Us. And then June, July, we got a bunch of stuff coming up. Ballerina, tons of great newscasts, lots of Summer Games Fest, Switch 2, Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, lots of great stuff. So just subscribe wherever you want, video or audio. We very much appreciate it. And if you want everything we do here, there's a variety of tiers, so you get to pick. But stuff like next week after 9, which I'm sure we'll be talking about this with people, our call-in show Friday, 6 p.m. PST. That will be lots of fun. Phase 2 tier and up. Lots of benefits, lots of things to do. Just like if you like this review and you thought, hey, what do you want to hear of our other thoughts on Mission Impossible? We reviewed every single Mission Impossible, except for Dead Reckoning, because we just did that 2 years ago. But still, that review is on the Patreon feed, along with every episode we've ever done. Ad-free, exclusive up there. And then next week we'll be doing an exclusive rankings episode. We're going to be doing our favorite teams, our favorite scenes, our favorite movies, favorite villains, lots of good stuff. So I'm sure that will be very fun, like the retrospective has. So I'm sure we'll refer back to it a few times, but if you want to hear our whole thoughts, do that. And head over to Patreon. Thank you to Patreon producers Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superman Mike, God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Renner, Charlie Randell, Cocktail Clay. Did we see Jeremy Renner tonight? I don't know. We'll talk about it. But you get every single thing we do there. And especially stay tuned because we'll be announcing stuff at the 10-year for some new polls and whatnot the Patreon producers are going to be doing. You'll be getting some behind-the-scenes stuff, especially for 10-year. And our GV Day, gosh, I should start promoting it here. Next week, soon we're going to talk about, but at least I can say August 9th. I know that's like, that's a long ways away. You're going to want to mark it down. We're doing at least 10 hours, but June, July is going to be a big 10-year celebration of tons of content of GeekVerse past and yesteryear coming back. So, stay tuned. But let's get into this. So, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. We're going to do our non-spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie or waiting, whatever the main reason is, we're going to do all of our minor thoughts, just overalls, what we thought of the movies. We'll take a little ad break, and then we'll come back and do full spoilers. So after the break, you've accepted the mission, and you're fully in, and we can't hold you accountable what we're talking about. So, Mr. Field, what did you think of Final Reckoning?
This movie's messy. It's not there are sequences in this movie that I enjoy, and then there's other moments that are just in between that are not great. I feel like it's just too choppy for a finale to like, and especially as a part 2, it doesn't do a great job at kind of tying everything off in a bow, I'd say. Well, it does that. It's just the bow is falling apart. You know when you tie your shoelace and the shoelaces come undone? I feel like that's what this is. They tried.
Like butter scraped over too much bread, you might say?
You could say that.
Why don't we have that drop? We've used that quote like almost since the beginning of GeekVerse time. So here, quickly, there you go,
Copyright
detail.
strikes.
Patreon asking us, oof, should I see Lilo instead? Taylor, what would you say to that?
I would, yes. I would say yes.
Wow.
But you know what? They're bringing kids to this movie anyways, so I mean, we'll talk about it.
Next
They
week,
are not.
we-
A person did.
Because it's a late night, and I think we're gonna have lots to talk about this. Tune in, even if you're not gonna call in. Tune in for After 9 next week. 2 great stories on Taylor's fucking wild ride home. That's worth. We got some video. That's worth the price of admission. And then, yes, someone brought a 3 to 4 year old to our screening. Also worth the price of admission. So next week, After 9, there's gonna be some great stories talked about. But so you're going that. I'll wait till overalls. Same thing, Kirk. Wait till overalls. I think I know your cards lie in that one. But Taylor, finish off with your overalls for this.
Well, you haven't even seen Lilo, have you, Taylor? Sorry to interject, but like,
No,
that's just a wild
but
claim.
we're going to. I got to figure out one of these days this
You haven't
weekend.
seen the original Lilo and Stitch?
No, I've seen the original, but the new one that came out.
Yeah, the new one. Do you think D-Toll's
Came
talking
out
about
today.
the original that came out in 1996?
Well, no, but I just thought like you made it sound like we know what Lilo and Stitch is. Like the live, it's the cartoon, the live action. Like we know if you've seen the
Imagined.
movie, you know what you're getting.
I'm getting a good time. That's what I'm getting. But a good time with this, I don't know. It's I had many I had many factors stacked against me here. One of them being, so Kirkland was amazing, got me a large beverage, and I finished it in the first 30 minutes, which is a big mistake because at that 45-minute mark, I was bursting at the seams.
Oh my gosh,
and then
man.
we got to, and this isn't a spoiler, obviously, but we got to an ocean sequence, and all I just think of was water and peeing. It's really uncomfortable.
I'm gonna blow.
So I held it in for about 45 minutes, and then after that, the feeling went away. I couldn't feel anything down low anymore.
Pissed your pants.
Yeah. If Shay was asking what
Yeah,
that smell
Shay's
was,
right there.
what's that smell? Just pee dripping down Taylor's leg during this
Taylor's
movie.
face is just fucking Emperor Drogue when he realized what was going on.
Sorry.
Oh, so yeah. Once I got over that feeling of numbness, then I wrote it out till the end. But yeah, it was like I said, there were moments in this movie that I really did enjoy, but it wasn't the writing, and it wasn't necessarily the story. There were certain things that they included in narrative elements. I thought my jaw dropped because I thought, you know what, there's probably a lot of realism to that, and if this were an actual scenario in the real world and how certain political figures would respond and act in these situations, I thought, man, that's fucked up, but hey, that probably would happen. But everything that kind of led to this, it felt messy, and the beginning, which we'll probably break down extensively in the spoilers, I felt it was definitely slow, but at the same time, it was so quick cut. Like, my God, they chopped it up so fast. Like, if you weren't paying full attention, you need to be paying attention because, well, there's definitely moments of,
or are they just going to tell you the same information again?
there's
15 times
there's
for the
moments
first hour?
there's moments of recap, that's right, but then in between, and this, it's not a spoiler, but there's dare I say, 4 time jumps where they do different things, and they all directly impact where we get to after the title card drops and we get into that first mission and the movie actually is starting. And you need to be watching that because it's okay, well, how does all this come together when that movie's actually starting here and our characters are together? It's just, I feel like that was way too fast, and I feel like that was them not executing the time that they had appropriately to account for also the slow factor of how this, again, it's hard to explain. It was quick and it was slow at the start. It just was messy and choppy. But overall, I had fun because I was seeing it with you guys, and there were moments where I was laughing, and it's just some crazy shit. But I'm not racing to rewatch this one. I do feel kind of bummed out briefly, and I know where I would definitely put it ultimately, but it'll be interesting to break it down a bit more. So yeah.
I'll go because I already shared some of my spots. Taya said there's moments of recap. No, there's long sequences of recap. Not a good movie. Not good at all. That's the first time I can say that about Mission Impossible. I think there's great sequences, but great sequences, a great movie, it does not make. I think it's not a big spoiler. It's in there. The fucking to have some positives, the submarine sequence in here, breathtaking, outstanding. I don't think they've ever made it, and obviously we'll have to see, but that's easily in my top 5, at least for Golden Geeks later on. And luckily, there's 3 of us, so I don't think Dylan's going to watch it, but that breathtaking stuff where wow, this is incredible filmmaking all around, and this has that, right? The score still bangs, performances are still good, scope of these movies, even the airplane sequence, which I think went on a little long, and again, we've kind of seen Tom Cruise flip around on a plane. Am I this or am I 2? Stay tuned next week.
Oh my
I don't know who put MI2, but yeah, Patreon will
Not
be
me.
doing a whole,
That's for sure. It was not me.
we'll be doing a whole rankings of that, and I might agree with that person put in there, but yeah, the first hour and a half of this movie is rough. I'm not going to say feel bad for a studio, but I could just imagine a studio being yeah, it's Tom Cruise. We're going to do what he says, but fuck, this is a time where it's so tricky, and this is probably a bread and butter, but we talk about maybe because like a couple days ago there's the anniversary of the Zack Snyder Justice League like announcement, right? And this whole argument about, you know, creative freedom and director's vision and stuff. But then we just said Andor end, right? Where or Rogue One, that was not the director's vision. The director directed something, and then they brought on Tony Gilroy, and people would say, "Oh, it's better for it," right? This is a time where I don't want to side with the studio, but like if you were to show me a cut and maybe a cut the studio wish they had, the hour and a half you could take off. I don't think I'm being mean when I say 45 minutes of this movie. Kirkland asked his lady, said, "Hey, do you want me to?" He was saying it a bit in jest, but like, "Hey, you want me to recap you on some stuff?" There's no need to recap anybody. Someone could have never heard of Mission Impossible, and the first hour and a half will catch you up on every fucking single thing you need to know. Because minor spoilers, the first 5 minutes starts with like a montage of the franchise. Okay, this is nice. The movie is just that continually for about an hour and a half, and it is rocky. There's so much. It's not convoluted as far as not understanding. It's just there's so much plot jargon and entity jargon and just like plot threads. There's 10,000 MacGuffins in this of this leads to this leads to this. There's so many choices that don't make sense. This echoes like Rise of Skywalker, like gross fan service stuff where the director was like, "Oh yeah, fan service, that's really bad for movies." It's like, then what the fuck were you doing in this movie? Because they make conclusions and ties to movies where it's like, this doesn't make any sense. In the retro, we talked about how one day McQuarrie and Tom Cruise were like, "Hey, we saw the MCU and we like what they're doing, so that's where after Ghost Protocol we decided to change our method, did this." I fucking wish they never saw a Marvel movie in their life, because this to me is like if Endgame was bad, which lots of people say Rise of Skywalker is that, Endgame bad. This one hurt more because like they have a much better track record than the sequel trilogy and a lot of the Lucasfilm Star Wars stuff. Yeah, this for me is... This was a tough sit through. I think there's great sequences, great moments, some great character stuff, but they're very in between. And even the third act, I can't even say, "Oh, the third act's great." That has tons of stuff where there's a serious moment and me and Taylor are chuckling because there's something happening in the mountains and you're just like, "Okay, is this a fucking superhero movie? Is this the realistic Mission Impossible?" Like, well, not even that. Not even that. It's with the guards. I'll say it, the guards. Remember, there's a big takeover.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like, really? This is like, it gets so past the realm. It's like Fast and Furious. It's now too past the realm of believability. They completely jumped the shark of that, and yeah, big disappointment. I wish it ended with Fallout. I think I don't think I'll ever watch this movie again in full. I think I'll start from the submarine portion and go on, because I literally, Dead Reckoning ends with the last shot of the submarine. I'm gonna Dexter Machete this and start the movie on the submarine and see if that works, because there's a few details that, don't worry, they're gonna flash back to you if you didn't. Oh, a character died in the first act? Really? You're not gonna show us 10 fucking times them talking to Ethan? Like, guess what? They're not with us. I don't understand. I don't get it. To me, they should end with Fallout, and we should have not maybe done the whole connective tissue thing. Yeah, before I would have said Mission Impossible and Lilo, like over Lilo. I would have picked Lilo over this now, because this was way too fucking long. And I didn't have to pee like Taylor. I got up because in the 10th scene when they're giving you exposition, like, "Hey, have you seen Mission Impossible 1? Have you seen Mission Impossible 3? It's like, "Yeah, I have. And I'm going to get up now because you've told me 3 times about this plot point again." I don't get this one. I really don't understand the choices here. So, yeah, not to me a good movie. Some good stuff in there, but very head-scratching choices. So, Kirkland, maybe you're a bit more positive than us. We'll see. Floor is yours.
No, I think you guys make some great points. I definitely agree. This is a very messy film where it just seemed like we had check boxes to check off before we end the franchise. It's like, oh wait, we're out of movies. Let's just throw them all in here and let's just make it a 3-hour film. Completely agree. I honestly think you could take out a full hour out of this movie and it'd be totally fine. Yeah, we're kind of joking about it when we're walking out of the theater. It's like as if someone like threw in the YouTube recap, what you need to know before Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, and they just tacked it right into the movie. It's like when you start Netflix and it's like skip recap. I was like looking for that button at the bottom of the big screen, and it never showed up. Especially that we literally just went through all these retros, so I'm like, oh my god, like I could have showed up at 7 for this 6:15 showing here. Yeah. And I probably still would have been a little bit too early to get into the juice. I completely agree with the like the first hour, like yeah, I think for me it was the first hour. I was like, oh no, like man, like it got to the point where I was super excited for the just to get going. Like let's fucking go. I'm here, big screen, Mission Impossible. I'm caught up on all the retros. Like this is hype. And then it was just like, whoa, and it just really took the wind out of my sails for just how much like exposition and like setup and like I feel like they kind of hide the entity in a lot of the marketing, which is probably smart.
Oh, yeah.
In the last trailer, that's when you like see him wearing like the suit and everything, and it's like, okay, I know this is still an entity movie. I feel like I was playing fool to myself. I'm like, oh, entity's not going to be a big part. This is the entity movie, even more so than the second, or sorry, the first part. And I absolutely hate the idea of what the entity is. I will say though, all that being said, I had a fucking fun time with this movie, and I will defend it to an extent. I think this is miles superior than what I saw from Mission Impossible 2. I will die on that hill. I think just like for me, like Travis, you said, there's good sequences in this movie. I think that there's horrible sequences in this movie, but for the most part, it's a fun time. Like I still think they captured a lot of the just magic of what a Mission Impossible is. Like I was talking to Shay and I were just picking apart like the ridiculous things that just allowed this mission to work, and I think I would agree with the statement that this one has it times like 10, like times 10 compared to every other Mission Impossible movie. But like this is also just the final reckoning, and it's like every time that a crazy thing is happening, I'm like, I'm so used to this now by going through this whole series. Like, yeah, it's a little bit more of a step up here, but like this is the whole fucking point. It's a Mission Impossible, and they do the impossible missions, and Ethan's always going to succeed. This is what's going to happen. So, I think I will defend this to a point, but I definitely can totally get on board with the fact that this is a very messy movie. I wish, in another world, we could have been finishing off this series in a different way. I think just what they've been leading up to with the entity, like you can't just U-turn after part one into this one and make it believable. Like, I don't know, it'd be an interesting case study on like what that potential could be, but I felt like halfway through the film I was just like, whatever, it's an entity movie, let's just fucking do it. I'm here for the ride. Let's see how they round this one out. I think there were some moments that definitely was getting me a little bit emotional just thinking about that this is closing off the chapter, but definitely could have been done a lot better. But yeah, action sequences, I mean, like it's amazing. Like it is such a fun visual experience in the big screen theater. We got the good old Tom Cruise. Thanks for coming out, guys. Watching movies the way that it should be. I just crack up every time I see that. We got to start doing that for our movies.
Oh, I had a mental note. I'm like, one of our movies we're gonna do. I got the perfect one.
And you got to see my eyes watching like the teleprompter too when you're reading it off. Like make it like really obvious, like it is for Cruise.
God.
So yeah, that's
skip the Father's Day one. Skip the Father's Day one.
What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and just like I was like sweating in a lot of these like action scenes. You mentioned like the submarine. I definitely think that's gonna be like the standout highlight for everyone, even if they like or dislike the movie. And yeah, no, I'll save that for spoilers. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion, I think, because I did have a lot of fun with this one. Like, I was cracking up in scenes when I shouldn't have been cracking up, which, of course, makes the overall experience better. It doesn't necessarily make the film better. I guess last thing I'll say, too, I think the cast was really solid for the most part. Like, our main hitters, I think they were, like, just fantastic. And then there's a couple little side characters. Like, okay, we got these guys for the ride. What was I gonna? There's some Travis. Oh yeah, it's just like fan service up the yin yang. True, some of it I loved.
I don't think it's all bad in there, but it was a lot of it, and there's some that just it changes nothing about the story. Why are we doing this?
True.
Why is this person related to this person? Why is this person? I was there that day. Like,
yeah. Okay. Yes, the one relation thing. That one was like, what the fuck, man? Why are we?
That's Ray.
To do
That's
this?
Ray Skywalker bad. Especially the motivations it gives that character. It's like this doesn't make any sense at all. Like, especially we just did. Well, I just rewatched Dead Reckoning, and it felt like two characters they put on a completely different track. And this movie, it's like. No, they're doing something completely different. It's weird. I will say, because I think this works non-spoiler, and we'll talk more in spoiler. I think she's a great actress. I think she's not bad in this movie, but I think having Haley in this role instead of Ferguson didn't work for me.
Yeah.
It worked a little bit in the first, but the emotional strings they're pulling here, because I can't remember if it was money or if it was something else with Ferguson and she wanted out. And if you're watching this, also they kill her off. It felt like at times it was written for her, but it's not, because we've just met Grace, and I think a lot of things did not work with that character. Nothing because of Haley Atwell, just because of the circumstances there. And I think if you're talking about those emotional bits, if this was Ilsa, man, would have hit 10 times harder. But it just was it was lacking. There's not enough here, not enough meat on the bone to do these type of scenes, or not enough time has passed, or even not enough time with these characters, because like that's the good and bad thing. A lot of times when these characters together, it's the whole crew. So it's like, and even last movie, it's like Haley Atwell and Tom Cruise are together a lot, but like lots of it's like the car chase where they're handcuffed together. It's not like an emotional bonding scene where we got that with Ethan and Ilsa, right? But here, they were hitting strings where it felt like they wanted Ferguson, but things didn't work out with her in the studio. So it's like, well, we'll shift that story to Grace now, and it did not work for me.
Yeah.
Again, nothing with Haley though, nothing wrong there, and I think they have fine enough chemistry. I don't think they've reached the levels of obviously what Cruise and Ferguson have, but it was beats that didn't work per se. And now I thought maybe you should just lifted those and not even had them. You still she could still be in the movie and friend, but there's certain, I don't care. It's like certain almost romantic beats where you're like, this just isn't really working for me right now.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with it. It seems like not necessarily the role, but like the position that this character is being Grace, like it just seems like it's written for Ilsa for just what
Yes.
their emotional tie would be. So yeah, I completely agree with you there. Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. And score
Okay,
was
so-
also really good. I think past that, I'm ready to go spoilers.
Yeah, no,
I would
she's
recommend
good,
this,
yeah.
and I would choose this over Lilo, even though I am still excited to see Lilo.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, the recommendation's tough. Ferguson said she chose the lead Mission Impossible franchise primarily because her character, Elsa Fels, was becoming a team player, and she felt the story arc come to a natural end. She also stated that she didn't feel the role was worth the significant time commitment required for Mission Impossible film, which obviously these take a lot, and I think what she's just kind of saying is that, yeah, she's not a main character, and she's part of the team, and that's fine, but they should have made her a team player, or like not a team player.
I would have
gave her
taken
more
like she wasn't actually dead, like just to have her in here. Honestly, I would have been totally okay
boom,
with
Grace is gone. She
to just
kills
have her in that scene, or not
Yeah.
that scene. Sorry, in that sequence.
Yeah,
Of events
so-
that I almost spoiled. That I'm not going to say. So yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let's get into spoilers. So if you've not seen this movie, we're going to take our first ad break, and then we'll be right back. And we are back. So I'm going to... usually we don't do this, but I'm going to say we're going to mostly go from beginning to end because I don't want to miss some stuff. If we jump over, that's fine. But this movie... God, how does it even start? To go back to like the very beginning, I'm trying to get back there because this long
Ethan,
movie...
VHS tape puts it in.
Right.
You got the great Angela Bassett, who's been promoted to President of the United States. So good
Yeah.
for her character in this situation.
The world is fucked. Like,
Yeah, and she's
yeah.
doing like an emotional speech to Ethan to basically
Please
come
give
in.
us this key.
Please give us the doomsday device. We promise not to do anything nefarious with it, even though we
Ethan's
probably
just
will.
sitting there menacingly being like, should I release smallpox? I don't know. but,
Yeah,
like,
and this kind of leads into the montage of kind of what you're alluding to in the spoiler-free
Yeah.
section. And
which this is fine because she's thanking him for his service. She's trying to appeal, right? Because the idea is the country, like all this stuff is happening. Of course, they set up like the entity has followers, and they're all fucking like religious zealots, pretty much. It's like, oh god, and like you said, Kirkland, and I guess for me that's where I can't enjoy this movie that much because at least Dead Reckoning for me is a Mission Impossible movie, but then it's like, oh, this villain kind of sucks with the entity. Where to me, this is an entity movie. It's all
Yeah.
based around that. But yeah, they try to plead with them. And I don't mind this. She's pleading with them. And while she is like talking about all these times he saved the world and all these sacrifices, they show everything, right? That to me was all working. I think that was good. And I was questioning like, okay, it's weird. Like usually in these franchises, if it's an ending one, we get this at the end, but it kind of made sense that she's just trying to say, hey, please come in and, meet with me so we could talk and stuff. So I think that all worked. I think it was just tough as we continue on. Cause God, I know which scene is coming soon, but I'm just trying to remember how we get there, but someone take the ball.
Taylor,
Or
what do you
don't.
think?
Or don't.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's again, the whole scene, the whole starting point is just for me. It's messy, and yeah, them just like setting this up where hey, come on in, bring us the key, and you have to remember too, like this is only 2 months after the previous film, and I feel like after everything, to me, it feels like it's been a lot longer of a period of time. Uh, Especially with Ailey Atwell's character, I feel like okay, she's had a little bit more experience with the IMF, and she's one of their own now. But no, that's not the case. And with things being expedited here, it's like okay, we have this weird fight scene where two guards attack these other guards to rescue like Palm Clementif's character, and then all of a sudden it's like oh no, it's actually Ethan and Benji, and all of a sudden they recruit the other guy who is hunting them, but they totally ignored the other guy. Like it's just, and then it cuts to the next scene where they're on this next mission, and it's showing they're at the gala, and then they get like electrified, and then they have to break out all of a sudden, and then yeah, it's so fast, and this is before we even got the title card yet, before they've actually got onto their mission.
When the title cards roll in, I turned to Shay. I'm like, it's just getting started.
Oh
Here
boy,
we
did she
go.
know she was in
Buckle
here
up.
for-
Let's get
yeah.
into there. Now you know you're all caught up. No, I feel like the gala sequence was the first moment where I'm like, oh no, we're in trouble. It seemed like I was missing something. Like I'm watching part 1 to part 3 and I missed part 2 or something like in that series of events, because it's like, okay, we're at the gala, this is going to be an interesting like cat and mouse situation with Ethan like trying to find Gabriel here, and then they just like there's two guards that just confront him. It's like, we got Ethan Hunt, how do you know it's me? It's like, okay, well, we're gonna call it in, and then Grace just randomly
what the
shows up,
fuck?
dismounts their radios like instantly, and like they're in the middle of like an event where they could be like there's someone with a gun here. Like, even if they get shot, they're kind of doing their job. And I don't know, like, they're security guards. They're kind of supposed to, I mean, they're better than security guards. They're agents, I would assume. So I found that whole moment so head scratchy. And like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It's just like bad television. Or
Even how they
something
get
versus-
captured. It's him and Grace talking in the closet. Then they move the curtain. These two just big guys with needles. For some reason, they needle Ethan twice, like just to like show he's a badass. And that's
Gabriel's
one
been
thing.
waiting for you. Like, yeah, that was so weird.
That's one thing I'll say. This movie is just obsessed with sucking Ethan Hunt's dick. Like everybody will pull him aside and just be like, "You're the greatest man that ever lived, don't you know?" And he's always like, "Oh, thank you." Like he's so modest about it, but fuck, man, like it happens. There's so many speeches about it. But yeah, those two characters, Briggs, which we'll talk about later, and the other guy was Digas, who was strange because like. This is what I mean. We'll still jump forward and everything. In Dead Reckoning, him and Briggs have a conversation about the entity, and Briggs is like, "Oh well, you know, we can't trust Hunt because you know, what if he gets the entity? What would one man do?" Like he asked Degas, or I think that's how you say it, like, "What would you do with it?" He's like, "Well, I turn to my superior." He's like, "That's too much power for one man to have." Even though how does this movie end? Like one man has the power of the entity, and Degas is like, "Yeah, we'll
Power
see
of
you
the
later."
sun in the palm of his hand. Man.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
what
And
he had.
even with Briggs, like it felt strange to me. Like I get it, right? Where the whole movie, and I didn't like these characters last time, but the whole movie in Dead Reckoning, he's hunting them down, right? And then they get to the train sequence, and they have a understanding. When Ethan Hunt jumps, he still goes, "Oh no, wait!" But like it felt like okay, I'm starting to see the shades of Ethan Hunt. He's not a bad guy, but I still got to bring him in. Where this felt like there was just like a hatred for him, also again to why it's the dumbest. Fuck it, let's just talk about it now because I don't know how much we'll talk about Briggs. At some point, some other rigmarole happens. We'll go back to the Plaza torture scene because there's some beats in there that's fine, but Gabriel's a whole nother cookie to break into. There's just fucking
The
like just
Plaza
fucking
torture scene?
like when they get caught at the Plaza and they tie
the
him up.
gala. Okay.
A gala, sorry, yeah, not the Plaza. At some point, Ethan, of course, is arrested, right? He's cuffed. He's sitting in this chopper with Briggs. And Briggs, he's pissed off for some reason, whatever. I'm bringing you in, and I'm sorry about your friend. Again, we'll get there, too. But he's like, yeah, I know your real name. It's Jim Phillips, huh? And then so what they decide to do, they decide to make this character the son of John Voight in the first one.
Yeah,
and
there he is.
Which is very odd because you know what also they do? They give him the motivation. He's like, yeah. Where were they? It was Prague, right? In the first movie? I think
Yes.
with everyone
Yes, I
down, he's
think
like,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
And that your whole team died in Prague. Right. We saw that scene like 5 fucking times. It's more like 2, but still, the fact that we saw it twice and go up the elevator.
Emilio
But
Estevez, let's
he's
go.
like, in Prague, your team died, and everyone thought it was you, but then somehow my dad took the fall for it. And Ethan, his response is like, it's all true. It's no, it's not. It's not true. I would understand if it was a situation where he got a innocent, even those team members, right? It was not Ethan's fault, but if he felt guilty for it. But Jim Phillips was a full-on bad guy in Mission Impossible. Whatever you can say, he's working for different countries, whatever. But like,
And I fucked your mom too, right?
he is, and your sister. But like,
Hello,
is
son.
he is a villain in that movie. But all of his motivations, Briggs, now Jim Phillips Jr. is, you killed my dad, and pretty much framed him for it, right? And now Jim Phillips thinks that Jim Phillips Jr., sorry, he is like responsible for all this. Like, he's gone rogue so many times, and yet, again, the last movie I felt was turning him around. But okay, maybe he's not fully turned. To make him this guy's son changes nothing. Just make him Kittredge's fucking lapdog. To say Henry Cavill was like, it feels so odd. And again, this is like, to me, a full Tom Cruise thing. The fact that the villain has gray hair and everything, that's make Tom look younger. This guy is Jon Voight's son, but looks older than Tom Cruise. It's such a fucking, like, he should be like a younger character, in my opinion. Tom Cruise is the same age Jon Voight was now in Mission Impossible 1. He's that same age. So
Yeah.
when they did that for me was the biggest eye roll. That's very much like Rise of Skywalker. Like, oh, who he related to? How'd Palpatine return? It's just like, really? Like,
Yeah.
why? Especially with the director this week being like, oh, fan service in movies. It's like a poison. That's a bad thing. It's like, what is this then? There's no reason to tie him to Jim Phillips here. And for Ethan Hunt not to be like, like it was like I loved your dad till like he turned, like whatever, an explanation, but he just said, yeah, it's all true. That's not all true. And my last point is like, when I got up, I never got up in movies, but when they're explaining Ethan Hunt for the 15th time, when they're in the debris thing, and they're going through everything he's done, like, oh, the Kremlin, you bombed it. Well, actually, someone tried to bomb him. Oh, Prague, you stole the Nautilus. Well, it was because of this. Wouldn't they have this in the file already? Wouldn't it have been, hey, Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible 1, we thought he was guilty, but this was the chain of events. We arrest his parents, but we were wrong. Kittredge admits they're wrong. Same thing in fucking the Kremlin. Oh, we thought they bombed, but it's wrong. So why is it one guy's reading, you bombed the Kremlin, and someone's like, well, actually, no, it's not how that went.
Well,
this would all be there. It's felt like he's been on the run for 30 years, and they finally caught him. But that's not it. He always reports back. So I'm always mad at the rogue stuff, but this was a level above of like, why does no one actually know he was an innocent man? Why are they still, like, it's no sense.
It was weird too for that specific like scene with Kittredge because he mentions that the bombing of the Kremlin was to like specifically kill Ethan.
Yeah.
Even though that's not actually what it was. Like it was
No, it
supposed
wasn't.
to. It was supposed to diverge from like the attention that they stole. the
Distraction, so the guy could
Yeah.
steal that briefcase and jump off a parking lot later.
So I
right?
thought that was a little bit strange, but I don't know. I guess the info gets skewed down the line. But no, I completely agree with you. This is one tie that was so unnecessary and does absolutely nothing to change it. Like if I watch Mission Impossible 1 now, I'm not going to be thinking about Baby Briggs that comes later on and trying to avenge his father. And like he has such a smaller role than he even has in part 1. And like you would think that like in part 1 it's like I'm going after my father's killer that pinned all this on him. Like that's his vendetta, and it's almost like a side plot for this character. It's like, okay, I understand why he fucking hates Ethan Hunt so much, but in this one you don't even have a lot of those moments because it's just there's so much going on in this film, and then we like quickly cut to him and he's like, yeah, I remember you put it all on my father. And then, like you said,
like,
like
'cause
the
your
actual
father did it.
interaction, the actual interaction's not even satisfying at all. Like it's not even like,
No.
oh, that they really pulled it off. Like it's kind of weird that they tacked all this on the movie, but that scene was really good. Absolutely not. Completely forgettable. Completely unnecessary. And if anything, it like brings down. Like it doesn't add to the film. It actually takes away from it. So that was. It happens a couple times in this film. I think it actually knocks some of the things that's earlier. We'll get to the rabbit's foot situation, but
How dare you pin 9/11 on my father, Osama bin Laden? Like, it's like, he did it, man. Jim Phillips was fucking, he stole the Nautilus. He was going to sell these people you're protecting. He's going to sell you all out. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it was such a weird jump. Like I said, that would just be in files now. Because, like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? I'm to expect either this guy, Briggs, Jim Phillips Jr., is an idiot, or Mission Impossible still working with Ethan Hunt, and they think there's still a chance that he stole the Nautilus for his own game. Like, well, Just let him be an agent. Like, really?
Classified.
Yeah, this whole time he might have went rogue, like in a real rogue. Like, you know what? Actually, we'll just give him a pass. He returned the list, and we'll let his parents go. It's like, what are we doing here? It's super weird.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, you like Jim Phillips Jr.? You excited to see him in Mission Impossible 9?
Like my shock level was there. I mean, I was not expecting it, but it doesn't change the story. It does nothing. I don't know why they did this. All you see with this character too, and I feel like, okay, it was an afterthought because we saw this character in Dead Reckoning, and I don't think that they were setting him up to be the son in Dead Reckoning. I think they were just doing it here because this movie was literally just a homage and a callback to that first Mission Impossible and the Mission Impossible 3, say those two specifically. And then you get
you just remind me of another thing. Fuck. God damn it.
So that being said, though, it just with this character, I don't know. It's just he felt so out of place. There was a lot of characters that they put in here that I felt like they were just given like the camera, and it didn't feel like they really fit the story. It felt kind of, again, choppy. We would get a scene with Ethan Hunt meeting another person like this guy here, and it just didn't feel right. Like when he wakes up on the helicopter and the guy's like, "Oh, I know your tricks," da 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 da. He's like, "You know, that's the problem with you, Ethan. You don't follow orders." Like, we don't need this dialogue here. It's
Isn't
not
the problem? It
change
seems to be
anything.
working out pretty well for him for 30 years now. You know,
Yeah.
like just let him do his thing. But yeah, so to go back, we have they get cops. I guess I don't know which one they establish. I guess we should talk about this. That Ethan, Benji, and Luther, they're all working undercover. They're in the fucking sewers. They're off grid. Da, 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 da. Let's talk about Luther. For some reason, they make this character sick. Don't know why, because they're going to kill him off in 10 minutes. There's no, like, I would understand if he's alive the whole time. It's like, oh, why is Vin Rames on this mission? Well, they've made him sick, so he can't follow them yet. Da, da, da. And, like, it, to me, I don't care if it's like, well, I'm going to record you this message. That was also so convoluted. Just have the mission end, and then it plays a tape. And Ethan, in this moment, is like, oh, my God, I'm hearing Luther. Not be like, hey, man, I recorded you a message, but don't listen
I thought he was
to
gonna
it.
walk out of the woods somehow. I'm like, okay, they're just gonna have him like parachuting in or something. Like, you thought I died? I got out of there, brother.
And this isn't even subtext. He literally says to Ethan, I have something to tell you, but you can't hear it until after the mission. And the advice is not anything like secretive, nothing like, to me, anything, this is some info he might want before to like motivate him. It's just Luther making like a raw speech. Like, that's all it is. Like, I believe in you, Ethan. Like, maybe give him that in the moment when he's in a fucking submarine being like, I'm freezing my fucking dick off right now. Like, but Luther said I could do it. Like, it's so weird to actively tell. It'd be different if he told Benji, like, hey, just make sure after the mission, like, he hears us. To tell Ethan, I need to tell you something, but I can't tell you right now. I'll tell you after this mission. It feels so just like, you're going to wait. And to me, that also spoiled that he lived, because when he's falling in the sky, we know we have to hear this tape. So that's going to happen. So
I
there's
completely
no
forgot about that.
Okay,
that
there's
part
no
in the film.
tension for me because
Yeah.
what is fucking Grace going to hear Luther like, hey, Ethan? Like, no, that's not it. So to me, they killed the tension multiple times. But like, again, why did they make him sick, bedridden, if he's going to die in 10 minutes?
To defend it, devil's advocate here, I feel like it's just to keep him in that location. Like if
He's
he wasn't
working away
sick,
on the kill switch.
if he
He's
wasn't
there
sick,
already.
he could move. He could move. He could have a
But his job's to stay there and be on the computer. He doesn't
I know,
need
but
to move.
he can have mobile shop. Maybe it's just a semi truck or on a train that's just going around fucking Europe or something. I don't know.
But they set it up in the previous one where Luther was like, yeah, I got to go off grid for like
Yeah,
2
fine.
years or whatever, like, or a
Just
year.
3 months later.
3 months later, and they left them like, this is the
Yeah.
device. This little USB stick is the ace in the hole, and Ethan puts it back in his pocket and leaves him there in his little bunker with his mysterious nurse that gets killed off
she
screen.
Who's
fucked
this?
up.
Who's
Jesus.
this? Yeah, it couldn't have been anybody we met before.
I just like the thought now that like if there's a world that Gabriel actually won and he's like plugs it in, he's like, yeah, all right, yeah, the entity's mine, and it's just like, hey, Ethan, I knew you were gonna make it.
Exactly.
You're my hero. I fucking love you.
Gabriel's just fucking laughing like maniac laughing. That's
You
right.
must
Turning
have
into-
killed Gabriel now, Ethan.
turning into fucking Green Goblin, which we'll get there. But anyway, so that happens. They do this whole setup where Of course, Gabriel has a fucking megaton nuke, and Vin
He's
Rames.
so many of those, and then the one at the end, he's
So
like,
many
"And I have a
plutonium."
backup." It's like, where the fuck are you getting these? Like, it was such a hard deal for John Locke to get the plutonium in
Yeah.
Fallout, and here we are, where
dropping
we
in
just got
Ethan's
these
base.
And like, I swear, every bomb that he brought up was like 10 times bigger than the last. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
this
Yeah.
one's gonna just decimate London. This one's gonna just nuke the entire continent of Africa, or like whatever it was.
Bad thing about that plutonium though, always has like a fucking 20-minute timer or something. You can never just find a plutonium
yeah.
bomb that you can just like snap like that. Even in fucking Fallout and what is it, Rogue Nation? Like this plutonium, man, it takes some time to warm up. But so of course, yeah, there's in a base.
Doomsday bunker, right?
Yeah, it's a doomsday. It's their doomsday bunker. He logs Vin Rames in there, who's sick and has his fucking. He's looking like a sick dog as Gabriel's giving his fucking villain speech. We'll get to him. So they set up that like, okay, you can stop this bomb, but someone has to be there to detach, and they're gonna die. They locked it and gave Ethan no choice. And again, this was my other thing of him not being sick. To me, it felt like, okay, Luther's not looking good. Even if they're successful, he probably doesn't have much time left, right? So it's like, it's really sad to lose Luther here. But if he's already on his way out, it's not that much sadder. I thought it'd be worse if like, no, he's in complete health. He's ready to go back on that mission, and no, we gotta lose him. Same way as like later on when they're like, one of you have to stay at the bomb, and Simon Pegg, who is on Dev's door, like, well, I'm not staying. Like,
Well,
why
he
wouldn't
needs to hack in, right? They need his skill. To
I
get
understood. I understood that later on. So I was like, at the time, though,
I'm
I was
with
like,
you though. In the moment, I'm like, this guy should probably stay back.
it's like how fucking selfish. They're like, someone's got to die, and then you got fucking guy from MI1 like, I guess me and my wife
Me
will
and my
stay.
wife will stay.
But then when they got the machine, I was like, okay. And I did think like, okay, they probably need him so fun. But here, again, when I hit, but yeah, that's how we lose him. And it's like, Ethan, you only got a few minutes, and get out of here. And you get Tom Cruise who runs along this movie, and he runs out of there. And then the fucking police. I don't even know who Shea Wiggums, aka Briggs, aka Jim Phillips, works for. Like last movie, he was an IMF, but he's working with. And even last movie, Kittredge was on the train, and he had some remark like, "Well, you're not supposed to be here, so it doesn't concern." Like he was throwing shade to Kittredge. In this movie, he's like fucking buddy. They're like, he's like saving his life. It's like, what happened in these last 3 months? But yeah, we lost Luther. Yeah, I wish this was more emotional for me. It didn't hit the way I wanted just because I think there's just some kind of goofy stuff going on. But it made sense we had to lose somebody. We thought we would. And I feel like we all said Luther was probably but like I think I was like Luther and Ethan. If anyone has to go, it'd probably be those two. And he sacrificed play, so good for him.
I feel like when we first see Luther and they like show his deathbed just sitting there, he's like, he's I mean, they're all looking older, and this is the final film here. But like, just he looks sickly essentially. He's like basically in his hospital gown. I'm like, oh, we're losing Luther. We're losing him quick here. I didn't think it was gonna go the route it did. I'm with you. I wish the moment was more emotionally tying. I'm okay with the decision to have him being sick, and this is just kind of like his final mission. I like the speech that he gives to Ethan. I like just the classic Luther like stoicism. Like he's just super calm, like in that moment when fucking Gabriel basically doing his evil mustache twirl, like you're fucked now, Mr. Luther, and he's like, hey man, and then. Yeah, I don't know. I like the moment, and then, like I said earlier, like I kind of completely forgot that he mentions, like, yeah, I got something to tell you afterwards. So in the moment when, like, I actually heard Ving Rhames' voice, I was getting a little bit emotional, honestly. Even though it could have been a little bit better, I'm okay with that decision there. But yeah, then just last comment on the Benji on his deathbed. I'm like, are we actually gonna kill off Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg the exact same way, where they're like dying? They're like, I'll stay back with the bomb. So I'm glad it didn't go that route. And yeah, I thought Benji was gonna kick the dust, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself there. So.
I thought he was too. I really did think Benji was gonna go, but yeah, Luther's death scene. It just, I don't know. I'm not. Like I like the character and I like him a lot, but I don't feel like they needed to kill him off. I don't feel like they needed to do the whole medical kind of thing or whatnot, because just killing him off but then not killing anyone else off, it just doesn't feel like the stakes are very high. And there are a couple moments where they steered you around and you thought, oh, is this guy gonna die? But no, everyone's safe.
Yeah, it was also just thinking back to Rogue Nation when Ethan's in his classic IMF briefing, and then the lady gets killed by this one random new agent gets killed by oh my gosh, what's his name? The leader of the syndicate.
Not Sean Archer. That's the for
Oh my gosh.
It's not Shaw.
Lane.
Lane.
Yeah, Lang. Like that moment. Remember when Ethan's just like so like just distraught on losing this lady, and he's like, "I'm gonna fucking he's gonna get."
He
this
carries
guy
it the
because
whole
of this
movie.
one.
The whole movie.
Yeah,
he
the whole
catches Lane the
movie.
same way to be like,
He didn't
"Fuck
even
you,
look
man."
at that just dead nurse that was just like just rotting away in that chair. I guess his focus is kind of in the moment on Luther there, but I'm just thinking of the nurse who's just. It's like she's got murdered by Michael Myers or something. Like she was so covered in blood and vicious way to go.
Poor family, it's not gonna know she's dead or anything like that. She's just fucking dead somewhere. Like but yeah, and then so we get this scene where I guess we start talking about now. We referred back to later when they get fucking shot and like Gabriel wants to see you. I didn't mind. I think I enjoyed Gabriel enough in the first movie. I don't know if it was a writing choice, directing choice, actor's choice. I think they made him way too cheesy over top. This is where it's the counter of I agree with Kirkland. I had a good time. We had lots of fun with Gabriel, but in the sense of okay, turn off the it's so bad it's good for me. I think he overcooked this a lot. Like just even little stuff like he gives Ethan his Grace's plan, and then they show him in the glass, and he's just like rubbing his fucking fingers by the glass. Like, what are we doing here? And he's just like, it's weird situations where he's just standing around doing nothing. He's like, you get Ethan. This guy's a trained marksman. Like, he didn't want to kill Ethan, but he doesn't want him to also get away. But I don't know. And then so another thing I just don't like, because again, this is something we tell this Andor review, and I think you guys were more mixed on it. But for me, I really liked in Mission Impossible 3. We didn't know what the fucking rabbit's foot is, and now it'd be like, well, it was the chemical, the beginnings of AI and the beginning of the entity. And you know what? There's two things I don't like about this. One is the revealing the monkey in the bottle or whatever the expression is. But I won't deal with it. I'll still that's annoying, but okay, whatever. To do the whole, it's your fault, Ethan, the entity exists because of you. Don't need that. Know what you should fucking do, Christopher McQuarrie? Put that in Dead Reckoning. Make Tom Cruise do something like a mission, and then be like, oh, that was, because they do that. Remember in the mission, they don't show his face, but they show a mission where Gabriel killed that woman he loved, right? They're like, 23 years ago today, I fucked her up. Do that where he's on a mission, steal something, and then you set that up where, okay, in your movie, you're calling, it's just like the J.J. Ryan Johnson thing. It's like, okay, in Dead Reckoning, Ethan does something specifically to almost create the entity, right? Some mission, whatever. But to be like, yeah, Mission Impossible 3, the rabbit's foot, that was the entity. And to be like, Ethan, it's your fault, I don't want that. That irks me. That's something where maybe the Jim Phillips Jr. won't bug me. Watching MI3, I hate that of no, it's not Ethan's fucking fault. It's the people who made this fault. It's all these. It's you guys are terrorists. But then the movie tries to put that on. It's not like he says it's not my fault or no one talks him out of it. The movie puts that on Ethan and he accepts it. So us as the viewers are supposed to accept. Oh yeah, our hero created the entity accidentally, and that's dumb. They're doing a Dark Knight Rises thing where even then it's dumb. Where it's like okay. Because Batman kills, what's his name? Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul comes back. It's dumb, but it's like, all right, I can kind of see that. The entity, he created the entity and all, the reason the world's at World War III is because Ethan Hunt, don't do this.
Yeah.
Come on. The movie already has grand scale enough,
I'm 100% there with you on that one. I didn't think it was a trope that I really hated that much, but thinking back, I'm especially in a franchise setting, it's remember when you stepped on this grasshopper in the second movie? Well, that led to nuclear holocaust.
This is his dad, and he's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, I just think that's such a stretch. And okay, we've been on this adventure. We fucking know Ethan Hunt is the chosen one, essentially. Every mission that he goes on, he can just fucking do it. He can hold his breath for 27 minutes if he has to. He can just do whatever has to be done. I don't need the entity to be telling me that you are now the chosen one, Ethan. I casted Gabriel to the side, the one ring. So yeah, I think all of that, especially when I actually hear like Ethan being like, "It was all my fault. I'm the one that set off the entity." It's like, no, you weren't, man. Like you saved the world multiple times. I had Angela Bassett explaining that to you in that VHS in the beginning of the movie. It's like you never obeyed orders, but you always saved the day, or whatever the hell she's saying. And it's just like it's so counter. Like pick a side here. Like is he saving the day, or is he the like the lead, the cause to this apocalypse here?
And I know we just watched it, but I can't fully remember. But I feel like Philip Seymour Hoffman knew where the rabbit's foot was, and Ethan's team like stopped them from getting it, right? So it's just like,
Yeah,
if
they would have
Ethan
got it
hunted-
eventually.
Yeah, it's not like that situation. Like they made it sound like because he stole it back. That's like, and even if the movie posed that way, MI3, but it doesn't. Philip Seymour Hoffman, I can't remember his name. They name dropped again. Like his crew was on the way to getting that. The only reason what happens is Ethan gets it back, so he has the idea of, oh, I'm going to take his fucking wife, and then we got to make the swap. It's a trade. It's not, oh, because you saved your wife, you put this back in the public, and now we're fucked. Way to go, Ethan. That's not the story of MI3. The MI3 is they had a mission. At that point, Philip Seymour Hoffman was ready to like release the entity, which is like, okay, cool. I like them giving a little more credit to him that he was like the beginnings of it, but still, it's just like, that's not what happened, but it's tried to retroactively make us feel, and I just feel like Ethan doesn't deal with that guilt even that much in the movie. I feel like it's a plot point, and then we move on because there's 2 hours and 45 minutes movies of other stuff to do, So,
Absolutely.
Taylor, Rabbit's Foot. I thought you on the review said you
It's-
want to know what it is, and now you know. See?
I always want to know.
Careful what
but
you wish for.
It's not something I ever thought we would get an answer for, and I didn't really need an answer. But I started to laugh. That's why, again, I feel like, okay, this is a direct continuation to Mission Impossible 1 and 3, and obviously Dead Reckoning. But
It was always
Yeah.
tied together. It was always
Yeah,
planned this
JJ
way.
knew. Yeah, just like Palpatine, right? He knew who Rey was,
But I just it's weird why you'd write biohazard on a container and it's not got any fluids in it. It's only
It's
got
electrical
digital.
biohazard, Taylor.
Okay.
Didn't you know?
Electrical
AI sperm.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, yeah. So I don't know. It's it's
See, that's why sometimes it's just better to leave it unknown. Same thing.
Like
would be like,
majority of the time, honestly,
Yeah.
because it never can like meet what you would expect it to be in your head. Like it's like the Pulp Fiction briefcase thing. Like it could be fucking leprechaun turds in there. It could be the entity. I don't know because it's
especially
never been
It
answered.
could be the entity. It's the same color.
Yeah, it's the
Fuck.
same color.
Fuck. And Vin Rames is actually Luther in disguise. He's trying to get it. But like, and it'd be different if this was like, oh, I don't really want to know it. But then fuck, I've done that twice tonight. Ghost Protocol did that. You're like, okay, like it's the one right after they say, but like this
Yeah.
is almost 20 years later that's been kept. And then it's like, well, we're gonna reveal it now, and you don't have to do that. You don't. Like I said, just the amount of the amount of footage they show of old movies. Just film a scene of like, oh, Ethan was on a mission, and and tied to some with Gabriel maybe, because that could have been like, oh,
Yeah.
they never explain how Gabriel gets tied with the entity, right? Have it that, oh yeah, whatever mission they were linked to, Gabriel from day one was tied to the entity as well, and he helped create it, but he was down for it, right? Or with crew, like whatever. It's just, why tied to MI3? But like that's this whole movie, why tie? Like, and even then, like the guy, I can't remember his name, but like the guy from MI1, that's a fun one. I got no problems
Yeah,
with
that was great.
Yeah, I got no problems with that. But when it's all of it together, it feels like a lot, because it's like, oh, it's the Jim Phillips one, and then it's him, and then it's MI3, and it's like you start to go down the list of these big ones. It's like, oh, like. To me, the only one should have been that guy from MI1. That should have been the
Agreed.
only one. I think that was fun. It was a cool little moment. I love that one. Actually made sense of like, oh, sorry, I ruined your life. Like, oh no, you didn't. Like, I found a new purpose. I met my wife. Like, I learned there's more to life than just this. Like, no, I thank you. It's like, and that gave Ethan some perspective of like, right, like I am here for the people we don't meet, like what they said, right? That one actually paid off, where the Jim Phillips one didn't pay off. The Rabbit's
and
Foot didn't pay off.
The fact that we had both of them in the same movie, you can see the stark comparison of like this is how you do it with this
Yes.
character that you have in your movie. So why did you feel that this is acceptable to have like the Jim Phelps
Yeah.
one? Like how does someone like that's a perfect way to tie off this character.
Yeah.
No,
And
I
that's why-
completely agree with you on that.
That's why I wonder when we did those retros and they said like, oh, we did more connective to stuff because of Marvel. So, and I just wonder if they like saw Endgame and they're like, oh, we're gonna do that. And it's just
Yeah.
like, but the thing is with Endgame, 1, it didn't refer to every movie, and 2, there wasn't just like logical jumps of like, Peter, I am your son. Mr. Robert Stark, and it's like, no, like nothing. Like we didn't. You got revelations, but it wasn't anything like, oh man, that really changes the scope of this. So it's, yeah. But yeah, at that point. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna talk about some Gabriel, but I don't know if we want to.
Let's talk about Gabriel. Yeah,
Yeah.
They get away. There's like a fun little beat there. That's when we get the title drop when they like Ethan just fucked up a guy and stuff and like chopped him up. And
I think that was the first time I heard that child like making noise, and I'm like, "There's a kid in here." Like this is like a
Yeah.
graphic.
He said he's got an
scene
owie.
to Mission Impossible standards. Even like I feel like most Mission Impossible, like there's always action, there's always kills, but like that was like blood, gore. Like there's like a butcher's
It's a
knife
meat cleaver and the spinal cord and the owie and the dad's like
Haley
owie.
Atwell just like shocked, like she just
Yeah.
saw someone like brutally murdered, and he's like,
Which
oh,
I
yeah,
liked that scene.
yeah.
I liked the idea of like because Ethan's never like too violent, and they're insinuating he's doing some violent stuff, but she's like the camera's just on her, and she's turned away, eyes closed, and you just hear the action, the grunting,
Yeah.
the fighting. I liked that. That
It
worked
showed
out.
the difference between like a thief and like an actual
spy,
killer. Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
like a dangerous man. And I completely agree. I thought that was just fantastic. Like through her eyes, seeing that side of Ethan, like they've been in peril together, but
Yeah.
to just have that animal, like he's covered in blood too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Gabriel.
Yeah.
Because
No.
he's not in the movie a lot, but he sure makes an impact when he's in it. But
I agree with that actually, because he feels like he's in it more than he is. I'm with you. I think what's the actor's name? Asai Morales. I'm probably saying that wrong, but I just feel like he has a certain gravitas that he carries. So like in the first film, like we don't have a lot of like long sequence of dialogue with him, but he like commands presence when he's there, and especially like even without like Ethan's like. I'm referring back to the last film now, but like when he has those like AI goggles and it's like glitching out around him, like he just feels like an entity in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it's now that I've seen this whole film, I'm like, man, this character is so much better in small dosages. Like the more stoic side of the character is so much more interesting. To we haven't even talked about, but like by the time that you get to the plane sequence, he literally.
he
literally
he-
becomes Perk Angle at the end.
Willem
Like he's like
Dafoe.
laughing like that and smiling, and he's just got
Come
the
on, Ethan.
Yeah.
I'm rock fucking hard right now, man.
but it looks like he's like biting at Ethan like in the air. Like I don't even know what the fuck that sequence was, but and like even before that, like when they're in the actual Doomsday bunker, he just seems so mustache twirly, and it's not really what the vibe that I get from him in the first part of Dead
No,
Reckoning.
in the first part, I got the vibe that I think it was not as well done than him last time, but I felt like they were like doing Anton Chigurh light, like very soft spoken, very quiet, but can just kill you like that. And he has like that dead look in his eyes, right? And I liked him there, but I felt like they went the other side, and like Tara said, it's been like 3 months, so it'd be different if it's like, oh, it's been multiple years. Maybe he's just fucking crazy, right? And I feel like they tried to do that at the beginning when Tom Cruise talks the entity. Palm's like, oh, it'll change you. So I feel like they're trying to insinuate that he's like, Gabriel's been changed because he's seen the entity. But it's like, I don't buy that. Ethan's not really that changed. Gabriel seems pretty much the same guy. He's just hamming it up. But like I said, we're going all over. I don't care. When there's that moment that, okay, he, first of all, just dumb. They had the two plane sequence, great. Yeah, kudos to Tom Cruise. But how he gets there, he's on the red copter and Gabriel's on the yellow. When he's flying like right underneath them, and Gabriel's like looking around, like no idea that Tom Cruise is behind. And even then, when they show the shot and Tom's climbing up in a peripheral where Gabriel is like 3 to 4 feet behind him, and he still does not see, even after a bump. Gabriel gets and then just go. But then when Cruise is on the plane, he's like looking around, whatever. That was cheesy, but so of course he gets the best of him. He pulls him, off the strap. I don't know why they showed. I get it. Gabriel has the necklace with the poison pill. They showed that shot like 20 times. It's like, I understand. I get it. We know what we're going for, but of course Ethan finally gets the best of him, throws him off the copter. And Gabriel's high, like hanging on there. He's like, only one of us has a parachute, Ethan. And then for some reason, they decide to give him a scary movie death. He lets go. He gets nutsacked. And then his whole body does a contortion, and then it lands on the. He's like, oh, and then he's dead. I said to Taylor, if I'm in the editing room, I say, you cut the fucking nutsack one and just smash cut to headcopter, because like I still
Man.
thought it was cheesy. The look in his eyes and him saying that to Ethan, still thought it was cheesy. But when they have him die to like a nut shot, it literally felt like Scary Movie was making a Mission Impossible parody. Like it felt comedic. It felt like Cindy getting hit with the car. Like it killed the moment for me. It ruined it. We had a good time because all of us were chuckling.
The whole
all four of
theater
us.
laughed in this moment, and this is like the villain for Ethan, thinking that this
Ultimate
guy is
villain.
what
He's
caused
one-upped him
Ethan
every
to go to
time.
IMF. This is literally the start of his IMF career, is because
Killed
he
Rebecca
murdered
Ferguson
and
last movie.
framed, and killed Rebecca Ferguson, the person that should have been in this
Luther.
one. Like, this is the most important villain for like the whole scope of the franchise, not in my rankings, but just like in the whole scope,
Yeah, exactly.
technically. And this is how we kill him off in a Scary Movie way, and the whole theater literally laughed when that happened. Like that should be like. I get like a gut reaction if you just see his head splat, but the fact that he splits, and right before that, I'm gonna have to play it again. Only one parachute,
Ethan, you motherfucker.
and then just nuts himself. Like, my gosh, what are we doing here, people?
Like I thought they were gonna have Ethan say "I won" and like kick him or something, right? Because like Gabriel has this weird fucking fetish. She's like, "Say I won, Ethan. Say I won so hard. Like just tell me, man. Fucking tell me I
Type of guy that's
won."
like, he's like buying hookers, and he's like, "Say I won." He's
Yeah.
like, "Say that you're Ethan. Say that I won."
Yeah. When you're coming, say that I won. Even though you're coming, say that I won. So I thought, oh, they're gonna give Ethan the line here, and they don't. Ethan just looks at him because he has a chip in his mouth, and yeah, I have the last parachute. Nut shot, headshot, dead. It's like, again, why? Like, who thought this was a great idea? And I think in other movies that works, right? Like Ghost Protocol, that's more of like a comedic movie the whole way through, where there's beats, and like when he does Mission Accomplished, you can have that comedic beat because it's kind of like more of a fun adventure
For like a
right?
pawn, not a main villain that
Yeah.
had
No,
two
but I'm
movies.
saying Ethan in that moment when he goes mission accomplished, and it's kind of a laugh. All of Ghost Protocol, even when he's doing the Dubai scene, it's like that's fun. Like it's always it's never too serious, right? Where in MI3, there's not like imagine if Philip Seymour Hoffman died that way after threatening to kill, like after the like seven, and like he got nut shotted. You'd be like, what movie are we watching? That's what I mean. Where you can do that scene, but then it has to be a different Mission Possible. It has to be way more of a fun going. This is a popcorn adventure. This is not World War III. That's in a different MI movie. This movie where it's the final reckoning, him getting nut shot by the plane, and those acting choices I said to Tay in the car, it felt like he was Ian McDermott in the Palpatine scene where he's like, I am the Senate. He's making those faces with the that's what he was going. And again, I don't know if it was direct. I think it was because, like I said, I think they're trying to make us think that he's a different man because he's been talking to the entity the same way Ethan's now a
It's
different
like
man.
tweaked his brain or
That's
something.
what I'm thinking. Or they've just made him more radical because there's been some time. Because he was not like, sure, he shot a couple smiles, but he was not this level in
No,
in
nowhere
Dead
near.
Reckoning. No,
Yeah, no, 100%.
he's perked up.
One thing or last thing I'll throw on just the cheesiness that added to that. The fact that like this guy, like he clearly like this is his plane. I would imagine he knows how to fly it. Like he knew where they were. He knows everything about the plane, and he's like, only one parachute. Does he not know there's another fucking parachute like in the
Yes.
seat where like Tom Cruise is?
Ethan
That's
gets it,
exactly
like,
what happened.
30 seconds later, he's like, oh, thanks,
Yeah.
cool. Like,
Because like
parachute.
it was kind of an intense sequence. Like it actually reminded me of No Time to Die. Like when you have that realization that it's like, okay, like James Bond is not making it off this island here. Like
Yeah,
when he's
you got
holding
hit
that
with that
stuff,
entity
when
or
he
whatever,
calls
yeah.
Leia Seydoux, and I'm like getting chills. Like just accepting, like the waterworks are basically starting to develop. I'm like,
she's
oh my,
got
like
your eyes.
I'm like, this is actually happening right now. Like we're actually killing this character. For a split second, I actually had that thought when Ethan is in the plane and he's like trying to put the chip in, and then he just sees smoke, and then like the plane lights up. I'm like, this is how he dies. Like this is actually gonna be the end here.
Did you have a problem though with him like getting out of the copter before he put the chip in? Like I thought like put
It
that
seemed
chip
like
in and then make a move.
priority.
There was like 5 shots of him like going to do the chip, and he's like,
yeah.
"No, I'm gonna do this first." It's like he didn't want to do it. I
Part
don't
of me
know.
was like, okay, maybe you have to be closer. Like it's like a range thing, so he knows that. Like it wouldn't work. But yeah, no, 100%, because they never explain that. He just, I think this would be cooler if I'm out of the plane, or he's
Yeah.
just looking after his life over the entirety existence of mankind in that moment, which probably a poor judgment call. So a couple of messy things. Pardon me, in that sequence for sure. But yeah, getting back to what I was saying, like in that moment when the plane's lighting up, I'm like, holy fuck, this is actually it. Like we're gonna say goodbye to Ethan Hunt here. Nope, just fucking puts on a parachute. and then it's almost like a one up on that when he's flying, he's trying to put the chip in, and then his parachute like lights on fire again. I'm like, oh my god, like we're actually having this moment again. Nope, spare parachute, survives. Here, Ving Rhames, it all worked out. And it's just like that's weird. I don't know how. I was kind of bothered by it in the moment, and the more I think about it now, it adds to the corniness to Gabriel's death in that moment, and I definitely enjoyed him going perk angle for just enjoyment wise, but that's something that I think on rewatches is just going to bother me more and more.
Because I liked that shot when he had the pair. That was the only time where I thought, oh, it's over for him. Because I was like, I know Luther's thing's coming, so I thought, oh, maybe there's a chance he's gonna like hear it while
He's
he
just free
falls.
falling, and hey, brother, I knew you were gonna do it.
It's like a voiceover of Luther, but then you go to Ethan, and it's just like, like he can't hear it at all. Like, and it's just Luther. But like the only time for a second I was semi convinced is like you said that shot when he has the parachute and it just bursts in flames. And like, fuck, like what do you do? But no, Ethan was fine. His whole team walked away. Like not Luther, but like even at the end, they just weirdly meet up in the middle of a street. Like, did you not just pick a restaurant to show up? Like, why are you doing it this way? Is Degas like? He's not even IMF. Why is he like? I know he's on the team, but it's like, is he now? Like he's disappearing. Like it is the same thing with Palm. Like she's an international criminal. I guess they can bring her in now, but who knows what's going on? And fucking Tom Cruise is walking off with the entity. And you know why? Yeah. I legitimately think that they did this just because I wouldn't put it past them to do another one because I just don't think Tom Cruise is.
Oh, they're going to.
I would bet on it, honestly.
I feel like the Final Reckoning was just a ploy to make this happen. Cruise is going to go do a couple different movies like Top Gun 3, that Inarritu movie, and then they can, the Returning Reckoning or whatever. Like it for me didn't feel like an end to this character. It felt like a massive mission, but it didn't feel like, wow, I went on a jury. They didn't even do that because what I was convinced, because Maddie put in that poll, and I think we talked about a couple of retros that at first I thought when we got the title, I'm like, oh, he's going to die. But then I came around to they're going to do the Dark Knight Rises where it's going to seem like he dies, but he's like ridden off, but he could still do something. But this was like, nope, he just successful mission. Did it again, Ethan. You're the fucking best, man. Because I just feel like Tom Cruise was like, well, Ethan Hunt wouldn't die. And but it's like
that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, and sometimes
he
it's like,
wrote this ending.
You gotta die. Like, especially like I thought they were especially in the cave, Ethan turns to Benji and's like, take care of your team. I thought, oh, this is like the passing the tour. Like it's gonna be Benji's team from now on. And then I could be like, oh, you could do Mission Impossible with, I don't think Simon Pegg would ever be a lead, but you could bring in, a Glenn Powell, hot young upstart. But like, oh, they've set up this team that if they want to do more, you got like the spirit of Tom Cruise and Ethan, but he's gone, But it's like, no, you don't need the spirit. I'm right here. It's just it just felt, just okay, another mission. And sometimes the hero does need to die, in my opinion. And because this does not feel like the ending. It just and maybe it is. Maybe they never do another one, but it just feels like, okay, this was another mission. But it felt like Cruise disappeared to the crowd of the entity. It's like, where is he going to release Smallpox next? Like, what's he doing?
Yeah. No, in the next movie, whatever threat he faces, the entity is going to be his ally, and they're going to team up.
100%. You know how we could stop this? How, Ethan? I can't do Luther because
we're going to release the entity.
Ethan? Yeah, the entity. 100%.
It's Luther's
You're
voice
right.
too. Hey, brother, remember me? I'm the entity now.
He rewrote programs it because they made such a big point of like, there's only one man in the world we can trust with this, and they like, what to do with this. It's like, what is he doing? Because I guess I assume you just can't destroy the USB stick because I guess the entity would just like disperse into other electronics, right? I'm guessing.
I mean, because it was basically all in cyberspace, and then its plan was to go into the bunker, the Doomsday bunker, and be isolated there. But it went to the safest part of that bunker, was in this exposable hard drive.
But you're saying, so if they get this hard drive, and Ethan just like blenders it up, the entity's gone, right?
Yeah, it can't just. It's not an airborne thing.
And so for me, this is where and I hate it, but I get it. In Harry Potter, when fucking he gets the Elder Wand and he breaks them, you never know, you might need that again. Voldemort's come back how many times? You're breaking this. In this movie, I'm like, the entity needs to go. And what does Ethan Hunt do? Yeah, I keep this. This is like,
go show Kittredge.
Because to me, I thought the payoff is this is the most powerful thing ever created in the world. Ethan, you know what to do with it. What should we do? And I thought, the easy ploy is he destroys it and showing no, this is not the most powerful thing. We as a people, they're doing the whole America speech, we're more powerful. We don't need this. No, he kept it for safe tidings just in case he needs something. I was like, man, fucking Ethan Hunt, this motherfucker. No wonder the government has such a problem with him. But Taylor, we kind of went on some tangents. What are your final thoughts here on Gabriel and some of his antics this movie?
He totally is a step down from everything that and I say this loosely because I didn't like him that much in the previous movie, but yeah, he's a step down, and yeah, he's just the fact that he was no longer under the protection or just involved with the entity. The entity
broke
had
up.
disbanded it. They broke up. Yeah, he was just ready to go off the rails here. He had his own plan now. It is written, as he was saying, and yeah, it's just the kookiness of his character when he was the whole plane sequence and they're like upside down, like he's looking at Ethan and he's just
Also,
like
what's his plan here, right? Because he needs the device that Ethan has, and he's like, "I'm just gonna fucking ram you and take you down."
Well,
and
he
then
said
you're
it in the
gonna go down
plane. He said wherever I go, you fall. So he's just saying that
No, but
like
he's trying to
Ethan-
kill Ethan in this moment. He's trying
Well,
to.
yeah, he'll
crack-
go down the planes and get it, and then
Oh,
that's what
okay,
he'll do.
yeah, okay, yeah. That's
But
fucking
even
weak
then,
sauce. That's what that is. Come on.
to
now.
me, it's like, what if Ethan gets shot while he's like, when they're pinned down and all those people are shooting at them in like the cave there? What if he gets shot and that bomb goes off and this thing's just destroyed? Like, even then, what if like he doesn't follow you? What if there's no spy as good as Ethan Hunt that doesn't know where Gabriel is? So it's such a dumb plan. Like, I'm gonna run away, you're gonna chase me. It's like, but of course it works out, right?
Yeah.
Because just as he planned it, right?
well, just as he planned it, but even then, like, it's just weird because he got on the plane knowing that he was going to run away, and he ran away knowing, okay, Ethan is not going to come after him. So his plan was Ethan would probably get out of there, and then they would just get it later on. But even then, getting it later on, like, it would be too late because the world would have detonated.
That's what I didn't understand, the detonating part, because I thought, okay, I get the idea. He's going to get it, stop the entity, and he'll control the entity, right? But it's like, yeah, it's going to go to nuclear war
Well,
now.
That was
So-
never going to happen until Ethan lets the entity into the server, right? Because the entity was like waiting.
Right, it needed to be
to be
protected
safe.
first.
What
That's
was
true.
the countdown then?
That
the
was
US
for the
worried about?
bomb in the
No,
the
no,
bunker.
The
I'm
countdown was when the U.S. was going to get hacked.
Oh, like
Okay,
the DEFCON one?
Yes,
yeah,
that was,
yeah.
which is like, but if they got hacked, I guess that was the president thinking he'd just turn the nukes off, right? And
That's what
then
she
it
was trying to
stops
do
them.
before that happened. And then he gets control, and then they don't know that it's waiting, essentially. So they're like, as soon as they get America's missiles, they're shooting it. And then they're just basically holding their breath for the bombs to come. They
Yeah.
can't do anything about it because they lost control. They didn't cut the power in time. But yeah, from their perspective, they have no idea why they're not going off. But
They have
in
no
reality,
idea about anything. They're just sitting in a room for 3 days. Like, obviously, they make some plans.
Oh, it
but they're
probably
sitting
reeks in there. Just like
Oh,
it smells
yeah.
like our 24-hour stream. In
much
the
more
morning.
the 17-hour stream. Like, and they're just sitting there like, well, I hope Ethan did it, and then like obviously they are making some contingency plans, and then they, it's fine. Film inspires film. There's lots of films that copy, but man, this just felt like a lesser version of the Dark Knight boat scene to me. Of like, it's that same setup, right? Of which country's gonna nuke each other first,
Oh,
like,
yeah, that one.
and then are we gonna, and the same result, right? Where Bassett doesn't, turns off, takes the key, and you have some people on the boat trying to attack other people. You have that one secret, whatever, CIA, Secret Service guy that tries to kill the president, and I liked that twist where Offerman is against her, but he still saves her life because he knows there's a line of like, hey, I disagree with her, but we're not gonna fucking assassinate the president. So I liked that. Felt very odd for Nick Offerman to be there when I saw him, like, oh, this would be a much bigger role. Like, don't get me wrong, it helps to have a good actor there, but it was odd. So I liked that, but yeah, it's just the boat scene from Dark Knight of instead of 2 boats, it's 8 countries deciding, hey, should we nuke each other?
But it's
we never
like-
get to see Canada on the map either. I know we don't
we
nuke,
don't
but
have
Canada doesn't have nukes.
I know,
yeah.
but we never, when they show like everything powered out, don't know what happened to us. So
We have no
There's-
nukes.
well, there's
They're
no
only
nukes,
showing
yeah.
people that have nukes.
I just mean in general. Like, I mean, like they never, like when they showed the world map, we never saw Canada once on it, like
saw
at all.
Canada.
Yeah,
We did.
Canada was on the map.
Did we?
When they're
Yeah.
showing us where the St. Martin Island was, Canada was there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
It's
missed
grayed
it.
out
'Cause,
because they don't have nukes.
I'm a
That's
real
exactly it.
popcorn.
Only the countries that were in red had nukes. Everything else was in white.
Well,
so-
red were the
Yeah, I
ones
understood
that they
that.
had nukes that were taken over by the entity.
That's
so,
true.
So it was never really 8 countries waiting to hit the button because when we start, it's like, I think it's Russia, London, and the U.S. and then China maybe. There's like 4
China was in there.
that still have
Yep.
control. And
What
then
is the
really
entity waiting
quickly-
for then? With the other 4 then? Like, why is
it's
it not
waiting
just
for
popping
a
off?
100% success chance that it'll wipe out the planet, and that's why it needs the entire world's arsenal. Even though I'm sure they have enough with majority of those nukes, I'm sure it could wipe out everyone. But I guess it's just going for. So that part I understood, even though it's a little like, again, like, well, of course, I guess we just need all of them before we can get
Yes.
to
And it's on a timer.
Apocalypse.
Mission Impossible is always big with timers, but this movie especially, every fucking MacGuffin's like, you got 20 minutes, you got 18 minutes, you got an hour.
And
like, you got, you got
was it
72
just
hours.
calculating? Like, we know for a fact it will have control of our nukes at that time. Like, is that what that time was, or is it just
I think
lucky?
so. Yeah, I think maybe there's some algorithm where they discovered the other countries when they were taking over, and it's this intervals. But again, like, I just like. I personally, what they've shown the entity could do, I don't believe the entity could just not just take over all the countries like that at the exact same time. Why is it like within every 3 days? It's like, okay, we're taking this one, and then we're taking America, then we're taking UK. It's like,
Well, it's different levels of security, right? Like
this
what
thing's
Russia.
like God mode, Taylor. This thing can predict everything. Like, it's so
Yeah, and it's like and it does like it will get in there eventually. It's just it can't do it right away.
I guess
I
that's
imagine
why I
for
don't like the
plot
convenience
reasons.
of like
for plot reasons. Yeah.
Then I don't like the idea that they literally have a clock. Like they figure that like the entity, we know it'll take 3 days for the entity,
The
to get into
probably
America's
set the
system.
timer for them. You know, this is when I'm ready to blow. This is, I think, my biggest issue with this entity enemy. And man, like, I feel like when I rewatch this, you can make a drinking game the amount of times that they're like, we can't do that because that's exactly what the entity would want us
Yeah.
to do. So we have to
They
do
did
the
that in
complete
Dead Reckoning
opposite.
a lot too. Yeah.
And I was so annoyed by it in Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I'm like, I fucking hate this enemy. Like
Yeah.
there was situations
Ethan, what if he
resulted
wants you
from
to
the
do
entity
that?
in this movie that I enjoyed, but the whole idea of it being the entity, and like, I get it, AI is a big thing right now. That's a big just question on like what's gonna happen if AI is in a situation where they can just kind of be self-aware and like make these decisions. It is relevant. But it's still not really entertaining to me for an impossible mission, but for the ultimate final mission. Like, who else is going to be, like, are we going to have a character like, I already forgot his name again, the chap from Ghost Protocol, the Syndicate guy. Like, is it, like,
Lane.
would that be better, having, like, a human in the situation, or it's just, like, ending the whole world?
Honestly, I would rather of Gabriel been a great hacker. I would have preferred that. And for me, it's also just because like I feel like AI is like a COVID thing where I feel like we're gonna get so many movies in the next 10 years about AI. And I get it, right? There's bad things about AI. It's taking over. I get that. It's just like COVID. I understand, but I just feel like it's gonna be done to death. Especially because AI, it's like. I saw someone say there in the car, it's like, that's been around since the fucking Terminator. Like, the idea of AI, it's not like a new, at least COVID, I understand producers being like, oh, new concept, it hit our world. But, like, AI, it's like, we've, like, Blade Runner, like, there's so many big franchises that tackle this. But now, because it's very popular and timely, I would rather just, like, yeah, Gabriel, like, has a device called the Entity, but it's not, like, a working living being. Like, I would rather than just put all that time into Gabriel and do that in Dead Reckoning. I already thought that in Dead Reckoning, but I thought that here. But in this one, like we talked about before, strap in because it's all Entity. Like, I thought that Ethan Hunt thing when he talks to him was going to be like in the finale. No, it's for like 25 minutes in and they're talking. Ethan Hunt's like getting fucking like assaulted by the thing and it's showing him. And like, I just hate that it's like, he like it like literally can just read Ethan's mind, which I don't understand. If Ethan's not saying anything, like it can't. He's not a fucking like Professor X, the Entity. It's like I understand I got this equation, but to be like I know Luther's working on the poison kill. It's like how do you know that?
It's seen every possible outcome, right? It's a
Yeah.
super duper computer.
I get, but it's just like he's showing him literal like visuals of Ethan's mind, and like again, this movie at times is obsessed with like destruction porn because they show you the world like here's what it looked like.
Ice, Grace.
Yeah,
That
don't
never
get
really
ice.
came.
Shows you the nuclear stuff. I'm like, sorry, I just saw this Oppenheimer last year, and that's a movie where that is 3 hours. That's where if anyone wants to be like, oh, you just don't like the conversations movie. No, Oppenheimer's 3 hours, just people talking. That's some of the most gripping movies I've ever seen. The hour and a half here where it's like a lot of jargon. It's like there's just so much stuff they don't need to talk about. But
Yeah, like I could just keep complaining about the Entity and it being a villain,
Yeah.
but like the last thing I'll say on it is just the idea of it being a godlike being that's seen every single outcome, and it's like, okay, well, how do we win? Like seriously, like it controls
Ethan
everything.
Hunt, baby.
we put in barricades to make an entertaining movie, like we've already talked about with the countdown. Like technically, it doesn't really it doesn't need all of the arsenal of the world. of the world to bring it down. What's the stats? It's like we have enough nukes in the whole world to like just blow up the world like 60,000 times, whatever the fuck it is. But like it just.
And
It's
how
just so
does-
ridiculous how powerful this thing is to get to a point that we beat it. I feel like that's unbelievable with how they set up this character, or the character being the entity of it just being this godlike thing.
Let's take, because we haven't done what we've been ranting. Let's take an ad break, and we'll be right back with more entity talk, I imagine. All right, we're back. And here's the thing. So let's say the entity succeeds, right? Nukes the entire planet. What does it do after? People are dead. They can't repopulate.
It waits for the Planet of the Apes to take over, and then that'll be its new citizens, essentially, right? Because it said it
Imagine
could
that
be in the
movie.
bunker for like thousands of years. They say.
Charlton Heston lands, and he has to deal with the fucking entity.
Well,
You
it's
blew it up. Oh,
it's the
he would have
same
been
thing.
a great Gabriel. But
It's the same thing as Age of Ultron, right? Like you just cleanse the earth and then start from scratch. Like even they say it in here, like there will be survivors. It's not going to be every human that dies, and those survivors will come out, and the entity is
say
going to lead
that?
them.
They say that, but when the bombs come and it's only the entity that's in that bunker that can survive for thousands of years, even if a couple humans make it through there,
everyone's
like
dying.
no, they're not sitting in that bunker and reproducing for thousands of years with the entity. Like there's no way. I feel like that's just a plot hole, honestly, in the movie that they set up that it has these loyal followers that'll be obeying the entity moving forward. It's gonna be like radiation roaches ruling the
Yeah.
planet afterwards.
Yeah. No, it's
My
I
take,
don't
at
care.
least.
We're doing the rankings last or next week, but like, yeah, dead fucking last. The entity for villains, like, like like I would had Sean Archer fucking come back and catch some more scarves before I had the entity again. You know, like.
Is Sean Is that the Mission Impossible 2 guy?
And two, yeah, he catches like fuck. At least he could do the masks, and he was some fun and whatnot. Like have him flirt with Haley Atwell. I don't know, but it's just like, yeah, I'm. The entity is just what makes it so tough to rewatch these two in particular for me, and that's the thing. Where
Yes.
Dead Reckoning again, Dead Reckoning for me is far superior than this one, but this because it's so heavy entity and everything is entity. It's just. They doubled, and here, fucking stupid me, hey? When we got that first teaser and the entity it was barely in it, I was like, oh, maybe
Yeah,
it
me
starts
too.
with them destroying the entity in Act 1, and then it's just Gabriel or something else, right? But no, the entity is there the whole time, and yeah, it's brutal. But at least something we can talk about that's not brutal. We're kind of jumping all over, but we'll go to the submarine scene, because one, I just want to say this before I forget, this is where I felt like I was watching a superhero movie at the very end, because I was like, there's no fucking way Ethan Hunt would ever survive this, not in a million. Like how far down he is, how cold, like it's not just even that far down he'd still die, but this is freezing, like Arctic water. This is water that, like, if you fall down in clothes for a few minutes, you're gonna be fucking dead. This man is naked. He is. Well, I guess he's not rock hard because it's ice cold, but he is fucking.
Oh, he's rock hard.
Shriveled up. Yeah, he probably is rock. I fucking love almost dying, but like, he is in this water, like, other than boxers for multiple minutes, and of course they revive him, and I could just see, like, hey, can you have a scene where Haley Atwell just fucking cuddles me for
Dude,
5 minutes?
Okay, no. Before that, when she's doing CPR, and the camera is like dead center on her cleavage while she's doing the
consistently.
CPR.
I'm glad you brought it up, because
I
it's
was
just like,
chuckling at that so hard. I'm just
What is
like,
it? Is it titties?
it felt like
was.
it
was
just
titties.
felt like somebody, like, I don't think it is, but it just felt like, man, how could we get Haley Atwell to rub her boobs all over me? And that's what this, like, it did not
the
feel
decompression chamber when he like.
And you got fucking MI guy's wife just watching, touching herself. This is good, eh? But,
I like to watch. He's like
Yeah.
winking at him at the end.
Wouldn't it have been if that was a great reveal that Luther was still alive? Ethan turned over and he was like in Luther's big arms, like, I got you, Ethan. Oh, hold me up.
He's picturing Haley Atwell like kissing him in the water. It's Bing Rames.
Luther's big
Hey,
sloppy,
brother.
sick
Yeah.
mouth. That's to cancel your taste. But anyways, so again, I'm of two minds where when he floats the ice and they flip it, fantastic shot. It all visually looks good. In my mind, I'm like, I can't. This for me was jumping the shark. I can't believe it. But
I didn't know that was Haley. Well, I thought that it was his wife Julie from the trailers.
I actually didn't know who it was. I thought it could have been Ferguson, but no, it was Haley Atwell because that's his ultimate love. Who he doesn't even end up winning the movie. They just give another head nod and they fucking pimp off. Like, see you next time. It's like, all right, but yeah, this sub scene, and also too, big shout out to the score here because I think the scene would work out great by itself still. But this is something to me, movie making 101, where a score enhances the scene miles and miles because this felt like, and it shouldn't at all, this felt like a horror movie when this scene was happening. You think fucking an alien or predator is gonna pop, like the way they're framing it, and it's literally just like the fear is water and in close. And me and Kirk talk about a couple casco or whatever, it's like that anthobia or whatever, where I'm fucking scared of not claustrophobia but the idea of tight spaces. When he opened up that fucking hatch and it was like narrow like that,
and it went to his point of view, and I'm like, oh my god, like we're
and then
getting
later on when
squished
he's in there and the waters gets me, it's like, oh, I'm like, my skin was crawling. I was like, fuck. And is Shay like claustrophobic or something? Because
she wasn't watching. She said that scene was totally freaking her out. And I said for me, like, I feel like I was getting more of that effect from the plane sequence, just like some of the aerial shots. I was getting a little whoo, but she's like, I'll die free falling, but to just be trapped in like a water container like that, it's like, yeah, that got her.
If you have to ask me, hey, how are you gonna die? Do you want to die the way that Gabriel's friend does, or he gets knocked out and then he gets thrown, and he's probably like mid wakes up and he's just like, and he's falling, or do you want to die by being like crushed by missiles or water in a small little pipe? Like, no, no, that's a clause. Fuck, I gotta find it. But anyways, 10 out of 10 sequence. That was just outstanding. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, I could never say this. I don't think we ever figured it out. It's not anthobia. Hang on. I'll put it in the comments here. I got it. But, Taylor, what is this? The
Clithrophobia.
Yeah, so that
we're laughing about that name.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like a sexual thing. But it's like, yeah, and that's where this was. And, man, just the sub moving all the time, and that's something I can't wait to see behind the scenes of. I know they probably built this up, but like the way it turns and the water dynamics, and even then too, it's like these things falling from the roof. Oh yeah, those are fucking like missiles that you don't know could maybe like explode. Like this was something where I was like, man, they need to make a fucking Mission Impossible video game, because this felt like in a video game you got. Everyone talked about like, oh, the fucking sub level. This was this like no, it's like outstanding all around. You know,
it reminded me of Inception when they're in the hallway, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and like it's just rotating. Then you see behind the scenes, and they actually like had like it rotating, and yeah, it looked like that's exactly what they had going on. And I feel like in those moments I can sometimes get a little like, oh, I'm getting a little nauseous, but like it just worked. It just visually looked really good. I'm sure it was incredible in IMAX, and I 100% agree with you. I think this is one where like the score was just adding so much tension to that. And like I was sweaty palms. Like I was so nervous. I knew he was gonna make it out, but like even when he gets out of the sub and you just have the big fucking Russian thing looking at him, I'm like, oh my god, like that's terrifying in of itself. Like that feels like a sea monster just there. And then like he gets close to the fucking spinner thing. Wow, I don't know my boat terminology. Propeller, yeah. Like he's like close to the edge, and I'm like, we're like halfway through this movie. I know he's living, but still, I was like, man, like this is just building to the intensity, and that's not even when he gets to the sub, let alone, and then all the other factors in play there. So I think that was, we saw it in the trailers. I was excited for that moment, but they knocked it out of the park. Pretty much from I just really like the sequence even from when he jumps out of the helicopter and then like meets the sub crew.
You like the whole sequence?
I laughed so hard in that moment. I did like it. Like it's Chucky. It's Chucky. I was chuckling
Come here,
at the way it happens when he just shocks him there. But just like when he's in the water and then they just fucking appear all around him. It's like when Bruce Wayne goes to meet like the League of Shadows of sort of thing. I'm like, oh, these are just the water people ready to claim them here. But it's like, okay, it's the special forces. Like they're taking them in there. I didn't like the assassination attempt. I don't think that was necessarily necessary.
What does Tom Cruise say again? Like, you watch too many YouTube videos, Matt, or whatever he says.
No, he says you're on the internet too much.
Oh,
it's like, oh boy, again, this is a movie that's clearly dead serious. So it's like, this is not the time. And
Yeah.
Again, they make it that I know Kirkland's not because he's in like the Mandalorian episode. I'm a big fan of Katie O'Brien. I was bummed she wasn't in this more. She's the Jack chick in the sub.
Yeah, I really liked her in this. I was wanting more of her for sure.
Again, watch at some point. God, I can't remember the movie she did with her and Kristen Stewart. I'll find it before it ends here. But she's fantastic in that. She's a bodybuilder and like it's like a romance, but it's like a crime romance.
I was like,
it's
this
really good.
should have been our Abby, season 2, Last of Us. No,
Should have been.
Caitlin
especially-
Deaver's great. You know, she's she's a great actress.
Especially
She
in
was
the
looking
movie,
pretty
I'm
bad.
gonna figure out what it is. But like I said, there is Adria Adrana from what's her name, Andor. But this lady's just on top of my list too, as far as being Love Lies Bleeding. Her long hair, I'm like, that's my fucking Diana Prince. Like I want her as the next Wonder Woman. For some reason though, I'm sure it was like I don't know if it was a Tom Cruise note or editor note or whoever decides to make Ethan Hunt cool. Just to me, made sure like, this girl would like to fuck Ethan. You know, like so much.
They were like
fuck
winking
you.
at each other. It
Yes.
was strange. When
Like,
he's like, "Oh, why do I need gases?" Like classified. They're like, "Oh yeah, right. We're all secret. We all
Even the
don't
look
know
they
each
give at
other's
each other
names."
at the end, they like look at it and like, don't lose my suit. Like she may as well just gave him a cock slap. Like, come on, boy. Like, but again, I like her a lot. I want her to be Wonder Woman.
on,
Want her to be
boy.
more stuff. Yeah, come on, Ethan. But the only thing I would have cut is I would take the taser. I thought the taser was a little comedic. I would just cut to black, and then you go, "Oh, what's going on?" The taser. I don't know why, because we all laughed. I just thought it was weird. Just squall and like it was just the timing of it. I guess I don't know.
Makes
Maybe
you
on
think it's the
second watch.
Russians for a second. They just fucking
Yeah.
kill him. Yeah. No, I didn't love the assassination attempt. I get it, entities everywhere, but in that moment, it seemed a little bit unnecessary. And like,
Cruz
fuck,
looking
this guy's
jacked
like,
though.
this guy. Sorry.
Cruz looking jacked though.
I
Great
was
shape,
gonna
you
say,
know?
man, like 63 years old
Shout
or
out to
whatever
him,
age he's
yeah.
at, like he was looking good in his
Looking
undies,
good.
just like
Yeah.
muscle definition, like yeah.
That's why the scene is in there. He's like, I look fucking good, and we're gonna show it off. He's gonna wrestle me in my boxers, you know, and we're gonna do this.
We're gonna do
you know?
dick grabs, we're going full butt ass naked.
He's in the
this- this
tank
scene.
later. Hey, Ethan, I'm here too.
Oh, actually, you reminded
It's the
me.
whole team. Imagine if the whole team was in the compression tank with them. You know, we're a team, Ethan. Anyways, go ahead.
They're all and Ving Rhames in there.
Yeah.
just
I
cuddling
made it.
him.
I beat the cancer.
The one sequence that I guess it's not the only sequence, but a moment in the sub that was really bothering me is when he gets in there, and I work with electricity a lot. It's dangerous. One of the probably most dangerous things in electricity
Oh, yeah.
is water, and he is waist deep, and he's like opening up like a main feeder box. I can see like the bare
Massive
exposed
warning.
lugs.
Too. It shows the body
Electric
like getting
shock.
electrocuted.
Yeah, exactly. And he's grabbing like the lugs that are just exposed, which would be live, and it's like in water. He just plugs it in the device. It's like boop 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 boop.
All
Okay,
good.
fully charged. I'm like, okay,
Ethan
no.
Hunt,
Like,
immune
That's
to
sorry.
military tech.
yeah, exactly. Shay was trying. It's like, well, maybe they just have some submarine tech, to make it.
It's
And I'm
IMF
like,
tech.
They're
okay,
probably
whatever.
coated in rubber.
Yeah, and it's like, am I really gonna pick this apart when like?
Then why is the warning there,
technically-
Taylor? If it's coated in rubber, why is the warning there?
Oh, it is
Oh,
coated in
know.
rubber, but not the part that's making the connection. Like, come on.
There's
now.
it's electric bolt with a man dying
Yeah.
due to electricity. It's like, be careful.
I
And
was
it's like,
trying to look
legalities.
past it. It's movie magic, but
Yeah.
for me that was like the jump the shark moment. But like the one real jump the
he's
shark
committing
moment
suicide in this
is
moment.
is
It's like,
is the moment when he takes off the suit and everything. And again, like you said, like frostbite, hypothermia, his muscles should be like contracting. All the things that they told him would be happening is just not happening at all in these moments. And they're like,
Ethan
whatever
Hunt,
you
man.
do. And I learned this, which I didn't know this was a thing. But when you're scuba diving, you have to breathe normally because if you hold your breath, your lungs will literally explode from the decompression. And he's like, just get into
Not
the
my
surface.
lungs,
and,
baby.
And maybe to play devil's advocate to myself is like, well, he drowns, so the water goes into his lungs. So the difference, maybe it doesn't really, like maybe.
I just thought he drowned like way too. Like he drowned like right at the top of the ice already. Like that's the thing where it's
Yeah.
like he was far down. He needed a fucking jetpack to get him that down low. But no, Ethan Hunt with his legs and arms can swim back up. And like it's not like the other movies. Like remember in Rogue Nation where he does that water stunt. And but that's like. He's like getting ready. He's working on his breathing. He's been in the sub. He's moving right. This man's probably exhausted.
Yeah.
But nah, he can hold his fucking breath. And I don't know. Maybe I don't think I'm being out of the realm of possibility. 1,000 of feet above, like from where the sub.
Remember,
to
he's
ice is?
pulled down by a few hundred feet more too, right?
Yes. which is a
Because
great.
they said the suit can go down like 300, but they've never tested it past that point, which is
Ethan
well
Hunt,
past
man.
that point because that's where the submarine is. And like I knew he was gonna take the mask off at some point, but I'm like, hey, maybe halfway up. And then no, like right, like, and like the sub's taking him further down than where it initially was.
Great moment though when he thinks he's gone and catches the bag. I thought that was very classic
Fuck.
MI of like, oh, you thought he completed the mission? No, he's going, and just that
Yeah.
face of Tom Cruise. And again, it's all as long as you like. That's where you've just throw out the logic of that stuff. It's like if this is Captain America, you're like, oh, this is completely fine because he's like super soldier serum,
Yeah.
right? But this is Ethan, 60-year-old Ethan Hunt, who would have massive CT too at this point, like all this stuff. But like, nah, he's fine. It's like
Oh, yeah.
even Top Gun, right? That's the thing where it's like in real life, he would not be allowed, like being that age, none of this would happen. He couldn't do any of this. But Ethan Hunt, Maverick, Tom Cruise, it just defies all fucking bodily fluids and whatnot. So Taylor, anything on the submarine before we move on?
Like you guys already highlighted, it's a fantastic sequence. I absolutely loved it, and I like how when it starts off, when he jumps off the Osprey into the ocean, it just feels like the opposite of claustrophobic. It feels open and just exposed. He's just there. The waves are really, really big, and it's like, man, well, what the fuck are you supposed to do now? This feels like this is not the situation you want to be in, because like it's just it's so much open mass here, open volume, and yeah, just the way those divers just pop up behind him, he doesn't even notice, and then it cuts to this, it changes scenes, and there's another one behind him, and then they tase him. I like that, but yeah, everything on the submarine I enjoyed. I liked this captain guy working with him, like, you want to poke the bear, I'm the guy you want to poke it with, or
I'm a
whatever,
freak
something
too,
like that.
yeah.
Mister, they really like
So-
that.
I really, really liked their friendship. That was a lot of fun. But after that, and him getting suited up, and the assassination attempt, yeah, I didn't like that much. But yeah, him getting suited up and then being out there, holy shit! It was super, super tense. Him going through that submarine and just going through all the different latches or like hallways and stuff, and then seeing like the frozen dead bodies and the corpses. Got another recap there of the crew in a scene, and then. Yeah, him just, okay, like the time is ticking now because this thing's starting to roll. He's got to get the Podkova, gets it out. That'd be a drinking game every time fucking Gabriel says Podkova.
Yeah,
Fuck
It
me.
will come to me.
It will come to me. But yeah, when you guys already highlighted it, when he gets out and he has to go through that tube, and he's almost naked, and the submarine catches on his mask, and I don't know how he survives. It baffles me, really, really baffles me. But it was just such a fantastic scene. Stuff with submarines, you don't really get a lot of that in like submarine action, but it is pretty cool.
I don't know if I could ever do that life. That's just crazy. You're just underneath Antarctica, wherever the fuck they are, classified all the time. Just breathing air that you recycle from farts and stuff, and people are smelly and sweaty. But
Do you mean the life of like a spy?
that too is probably horrible? 'cause
Oh,
just
you
have
mean just the submarine
Just
life,
submarine. Like, yeah, I'm not really claustrophobic, but like just being trapped in there for that long, like I feel like I would just go stir crazy. But
Could you do the spy life, Kirkland?
no, I would be bad.
I could have at one point.
I
think
could have
right
at one
after high
point, I
school.
think. And, like,
if
that's
Travis
probably,
would've got
like,
caught
I could
stealing
probably do
some.
that.
Yeah, if I would have got caught stealing some sex toys, like, you ever heard of IMF? And like, I guess so. Like,
Here's your
Well,
mission dildo.
yeah.
It'll
Welcome to the
self-destruct in
club,
5 minutes.
Travis. I made this one just for you. But yeah,
Is that
I
your
think
Ving
bef-
Rhames?
that
what
is my
was?
Vin
Yeah,
Rhames.
okay.
Yeah, I think before meeting like a long-term girlfriend and kids, absolutely. Now it's like, no, I can't leave now. But before, yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
I feel like I have some spyisms in me. I like to cloak and dagger a little bit, but
Yeah.
no longer.
Driving would have been an issue for me. It's like, well, I need a driver. I need that going on. So
True.
before I forget, we didn't get any Jeremy Renner. I was disappointed. I thought we might get a scene. Didn't happen. You know, he would have been perfect. Obviously, would have wrote some stuff, whatever. If he could have been on the mission, would have been perfect to be in the president office.
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I didn't really think of him too much, honestly, like during the film, but in hindsight now, especially this being the final chapter, and he wasn't there for the whole franchise, but I think he's like big character for his
He
usage.
carried over, which a lot of those team members didn't, right? Like,
Mhm.
like before Rebecca, we had Vin and then Simon Pegg and then him. Right now, Haley Atwell, she carried over, and even Palm, but like that's just now. In the
That's
past,
just 2 movies though.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's just Brant now, right? He was just 2, but to me, it's like a little bit different because like Palm and Haley were part of originally a part 1, part 2, right? They changed it. Like to me, that was dedicated. Where Brant, he continued on in vain. So it's like, yeah, I was hoping there'd be a little something, but no, we got
Especially that Brant's role evolved amongst the movies, right? Like it's okay. Our crew
Yeah.
changes, but like he's like a higher up now. Like he would be in that situation, especially that he's dealt with the IMF, he's dealt with Ethan, he's dealt with the CIA and all these other factors. So yeah, that is
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that just was something. Was that something that they just never planned to have? I mean, he wasn't in part 1, but
Well, remember he was planning to take over for Tom Cruise, and that didn't happen. So I
Well,
think
yeah,
you
I know,
never
but
know.
I'm just like also with his tragic accident
Yeah,
that
oh, of
happened. Like
course,
maybe
right?
that was
Yeah.
a factor that they're maybe thinking about bringing him back, but obviously circumstances didn't allow him to do that.
Yeah, just was hoping to
Now
see
he's just
him,
our
but
Patreon. So.
glad to have him as a Patreon producer.
Yeah.
So you can join after 9 anytime, Jeremy Wren. We'll have you on there. You know.
Last thing I wanted to say on the submarine thing was the captain, who I really liked. I thought he was really fun. I was expecting to just be like a hard ass all through it. I kind of like this little trickster side that he had to him. You know, when he's like, yeah, you poke the bear. There's little isms. I 100% thought this was the president's son because, and the
thought
reason
so,
why I
too.
thought it was we have a moment between Angela Bassett and she's like looking at a photo of her son, who in the moment I thought it was her husband. I'm like, oh yeah, she's got a hot piece of ass here. There's a youngin here, but no, it was revealed it was just her son, and she mentions that. Like
You ever
early
fuck
on,
your son, Mr. President?
Reigns, just asking everyone all these.
Madam
fucking weird
President, you ever fuck your son?
You ever fuck your sister?
Say that again?
Ethan fucks his sister all the time. No, I don't, Luther. That's not a thing. Yeah.
So yeah, like we get her look at the photo. Someone asked, like, have you seen your son lately? It's like a thing, and then it's revealed that she knows what's the actress's name? Hannah something. She's like the captain of the George.
Yeah, from Ted
HW.
Lasso or whatever.
Yeah. Who, I thought she
Another
was great.
plot line. I liked her, but another thing you just cut from the movie completely. I know what this date means. Just get him on the sub. Cut this all out.
I didn't mind that because
If it's not that actress, you're cutting it, Kirkland. I'm telling you.
No, but
I'm
I
telling
liked
you.
it because it's like this date was significant because we lost someone because the higher ups were not willing to like look through the and like that's what they're doing right now essentially.
Give
right?
that
Like,
origin to the sub people. Ethan, why should we let you on the sub? Well, here's this envelope.
but it's
Okay,
the
we'll let you
president of
on.
the United States. Like this is her seal. She's the one that sends Ethan on.
I
this
agree.
mission
Give it to the
because
sub
she
people.
believes in this.
Give it
Oh,
to
you're
Katie
saying
O'Brien.
her
Yeah.
give that. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
just even Ethan. Just tie it all to one. That subplot of like from one
disagree.
to another. It's just like, why do we need to find a transport to get him to the sub that's transport him to the other sub? Like too
Yeah.
much transport.
Well,
you know.
Fair enough.
Oh no, I wouldn't say it's too much transports. I mean, it's
Yes.
a lot of
3-hour movie.
scenes, but I mean, the submarine. Like, would you just skip the whole boat scene and just put him on the submarine?
That's
I had
fast
put him.
travel.
I had put him on the scene when he's talking with the people, like the Russians are turning. Start him on when he's on the plane. Start him there. He's already good to go. Like that. You don't need any of the stuff.
Fair
with
enough.
Her. I just don't think it adds much. Like, sure, she's in the montage, like smiling. We did it. Good call on the son. I actually know, not a joke, because my impression. I thought for a second he was gonna be a Luther's kid because they just did the Jim Phelps thing. So I was like, "Fuck!" And he's gonna be like, "Oh, you knew my dad."
Oh,
and he,
jeez.
and I thought, but what I thought though, that they were gonna give him the scene where he has to tell this guy's like his dad's dead and he doesn't know, which I thought actually would have been like a fantastic scene of he. I wouldn't have wanted the idea of, oh, it's Luther's son, but I thought about that. Imagine this guy thinks, oh yeah, you're Ethan Hunt, you're friends with my dad, and he's up like that idea of
How's
because
Pops
Ethan
doing?
yeah, because already Ethan feels guilty about it. I thought, oh, they're gonna tie it all together. That fuck. I gotta tell this guy's son that he died because of me. But no, he's just Mr.
You pinning
Mr.
it all on my dad, like
Well, like
someone else I know.
like getting back to what I was saying though is like I thought the captain of the sub was Angela Bassett's
Yeah.
like the president's son,
Good-
and
good
then
lead,
she
yeah.
clearly knows the leader or not the leader the captain of
Yeah.
the like
Bush.
they have of the Bush yeah
That was
thank you.
that was the boat's name. The,
George
George
H.W.
Bush. Yeah.
Are you the captain? I'm the
so-
captain of
so-
Bush, man.
So they know each other through like personal ties. Like clearly, this note is referencing this event. Which is that like a significant date in the Mission Impossible? Because 1996.
I don't
that's when
think
the first
so.
movie came out. Okay, never mind.
Oh well, yeah, I guess it could be something like that. I thought you meant like in the story. Like I don't remember
No,
anything.
I thought it was like a
that,
fun little
but
Easter egg. Like that's when the first movie came out. Just because I knew it came out in 1996.
That's when
but,
Gabriel met the entity.
So yeah, like they know each other, and then she gives Hunt a necklace that he gives to the captain of the boat, and then I'm like, oh, it's because they know each other, and then she knows her son, so then her son would know that the necklace means this, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. This is why we're all working together. Nope, not at all. And then I thought the whole movie that was her son. And then we get to the end, and she comes off Air Force One, and there's just that random man who just stands out, and like it's a nice little scene, I guess,
Yeah.
remind you of what's important in life. But it's just like this is such a weird tie. Like in hindsight, this isn't necessary at all.
No, at first too, I thought they were insinuating that she chose to bomb the town that her son was in because she makes the city choice, and then that lady walks up and says, "Oh, you want to call your son?" And she goes, "What would I even say to him?" So I'm like, "Oh my god!" She like is
Flee,
bombing.
everybody flee, run for your lives.
Abandon your posts. But like, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's bombing her son's city. But no, that's not what happened. Just because obviously he's a soldier and maybe he wouldn't get it. But like,
Yeah.
I think that's the last thing you're saying is, Mom, why'd you bomb the city? It's like the entire world's going up in nukes. Like, I don't think I'd be my mom's she's fucking in a room for 3 days. I'm not gonna grill her on anything. Like whatever she had to do, she had to fucking do in that room. Like that's a situation where, like you're World War III and AI's taking over your world and be like, well, Mom, why'd you do this? It's like, well, like I get, but she made the right choice, right? Tried to turn off the nukes, decided to go against violence, and the sentiment is you kind of hope the other countries would do the same, right? That everyone would just like
It's the Dark Knight thing.
Yes, prisoners decide, no, we're not killing the innocents. Innocents decide, no, we're not killing the prisoners. We're not fucking animals. We're not, I won't live in the entity's world, So I get it. And yeah, like nice enough scene to show she had a son, but it's just very, very, and like again, I like the present stuff enough. But if you were to tell me, hey, Travis, I got a version without it, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm really missing that. Like, it's fine.
I liked it. I liked it for
Yeah.
the tension of especially when they're in that room, the DEFCON counter are just going down, and then like she even has that moment when it's like, I think it's when she makes her decision, like, yeah, I gave it to Hunt, like we're gonna just let him do his mission. And they're all like, you're a fucking idiot, blah blah blah, and then they all kind of depart, and then she's chatting with that one lady, and it's like, yeah, it's gonna come to a moment when they like snap or like whatever the hell they like she says, like they're gonna disagree with me, and like that moment kind of happens. I thought it was gonna be Nick Offerman just being, I was so worried that he was just, oh yeah, well I'm gonna push the button, and he just like starts capping people, hits the button. So I am glad it went the route that it did. But I did like those presidents scene. It was also just great to have Angela Bassett like in this role again. Because if she would have just been a CIA person like dealing with the president, it wouldn't have been as impactful. Like I like that we kind of had her as an antagonist. That would have been fun, maybe. Yeah. But no, I liked her presence in Fallout, being kind of an antagonist type character. For what that situation. She's not an evil person, but just for how that movie plays out, she's kind of an antagonist to our heroes. But having her here, where like she is, like she makes a big decision. Like she saves a big chunk of population by not hitting that button right there. And it's just like, man, it's nice to have a world leader that we can like really believe in and count on, take us away from the reality of life and just the mayhem, what's actually going on. Because this is reality, that button's pressed on day fucking 1,
Yeah, that's the sad thing.
Holy night mode on Travis there.
Yep.
That's
but
it?
yes,
Final
I
thoughts?
agree. I agree. It gets pressed pretty quickly, but they try and tell us in the movies, don't do it. If you take anything Mission Impossible, don't do it.
Random little note that popped in my head I don't want to forget about. The moment, it's just like a thought that popped in my head. At the end, when Ethan's getting his final words from from Luther, he survived, and like the helicopters come in, and there's just like a shot of like the machine gunner just like aiming at Hunt, and they're like, there he is, fucking light him up.
I had a moment where like, is that how we're gonna lose Ethan Hunt? Kitcher just gonna be like, do it, and then like
just like tracer rounds. I was also
Defoe
really
and
worried
Platoon.
that Jim Phelps Jr. was gonna actually cap him there. Like I actually believe, because like the way Kittredge looks at him, it's like, we're tying off loose ends here, like put an end to it. I'm like, please do not end Ethan Hunt's story, but he gets murdered by Jim Phelps's estranged son.
I'll say my score is low. It's not a fail, but if they had just Jim Phelps' son assassinate him in the field, insta fail right there. Just
As
like, that's
Luther's
a-
voice is like
Yeah.
in our heads, like, I knew you had it, brother.
You're the man, Ethan. You always survive. Fuck Jim Phelps, right? He was a piece of shit.
Remember that guy?
Yeah, you fucked him
His
up
son
good on
was
that
such a little
copter.
bitch.
Yeah, I always hated Jim Phelps Jr. Bitch. I'm gonna kill Luther. Where is he? All right, let's take what might be our last ad break, and then we'll be right back. And we are back. Okay, what have we not talked about? I think I said about it, but like I saw Maddie in the comments say that too about where was it? Plane sequence looked awesome. Visual, the stunt itself 10 out of 10, but definitely some goofy moments with Gabriel. Oh yeah. Yep, a stunt, no problem. I think it maybe went a little long. I think there is some fun shots of like, now I know why they do green screen or stuff in the movies, because it's a shot of Ethan and he's like, whoa, like
Yeah, he was laughing at that.
yeah, like it's this dead music's playing dead serious, and it looks like he's a vacuum up against his face, like, look at me, mom. Like, there's a few moments of, cut that. It kind of kills the tension, but no, great, cool stuff. Like, obviously, very impressive what Cruise and company can do, and it looks. For me, I liked this better than, because I know people love the Fallout one. The Fallout one, my problem with it sometimes is they switch that camera where it looked like GoPro-ish, and I was like, this takes me out of it. Where this was all, to me, cinematic look, so I liked this better of him hanging on there, and there's some fun stuff. But like I said, I think he did maybe a few too many rotations. I would have cut this a little bit, but if it's the last one, then sure. But yeah, great sequence. Another reason to pay to see this movie on the big screen if that's what if you're wanting big action stunts, then definitely this gets you in the door for something you should see.
Like when these scenes are happening, whether it's the plane or the submarine or just other action chase sequences, even from Dead Reckoning Part 1, like when him and Haley Atwell are in the cars handcuffed together, like I just forget about the entity, It's just like, fuck, like this is why I come to these movies. Like there's just what they're able to, like, I mean, they've been doing this for a while now, like especially Tom Cruise doing all these stunts and crazy feats. It's just like, yeah, this is impressive, and they definitely pulled those sequences off, and then it's a nice little takeaway from the entity chose us. See, everything that we're doing is chosen by the entity. We have to do the complete opposite of what we think we'd want to do.
What if you think it wants us to choose us, and what if it
What if
chose the chose? What if it?
We should
What if
all
it gave me
fuck each
cancer?
other, because that's not what it wants us to do.
What if it wants us to fuck Ethan?
Let's circle back to the sister idea.
What if its last wish was for it to fuck me? I think this is a you thing, Luther. I don't think the entity wants you to fuck you. No, Ethan. I think it does. And Nurse is just sitting there watching stuff like, I don't get paid enough for this shit. I'm fucking out of here taking care of this guy in a fucking doomsday room. Well, and now my parents are going to know I'm just dead by Gabriel on the ground. Fuck.
Oh, you reminded me. The Russian, I don't know what I'd call it, the the invasion that the Russian soldiers had on the island when it's like revealed that they were there. I kind of like that just element to it, that the Russians are like,
Right.
because they like hit home that like everyone's kind of looking for this. Like they kind of know a little bit about it. I assumed it would have just been the Russians and our heroes kind of that know about this, because
Only
the
Russian
Russians are
American
close.
care.
But there's a lot of submarines that they show like on that that monitor thing, whatever it was. I'm not
There's
sure.
a bunch
if
of
it's
other
just
IMF teams in different countries that are failures. though,
You're
'cause
our
they didn't find
chosen
the
one,
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, but they didn't. Aaron Munt and but they didn't find the entity. They failed their mission, So
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they did have another key, which is interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I liked all that. I liked that Russian too, and especially just like the back and forth on like, would you? It's like, yeah, we'll let you go. It's like, would you believe that if you're in my position? It's like, absolutely not. And then he says the exact same thing to them, and it's very true, right? Like from their perspective, they were told like they're a product of their environment. Their government told them that world's gonna end if we don't get that device, right? And that would be everyone, all the players at play there. And I did like that it wasn't just a kumbaya moment. It's like, we're all humans and let's just work together to shut down. Like I am glad that it took them to like take them out. I really like that scene when Palm is looking at Degas, whatever the fuck that guy's name is, and like he can tell what she's like hinting at, and he's just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no, don't do it. She's like, we're doing it. We're first chance we get, we're attacking these guys, and he's like, fuck, I just got to do it. So I like those moments, and just
So
everything with the two innocent people. Also,
Yeah.
you know, the guy from Mission Impossible one that we kind of already talked about.
his wife was good too. I liked she was good comedic timing and stuff with the explaining the snow stuff. But
I think that went a little bit too long.
I agree.
Ugh,
I
ugh.
agree. Yeah. But yeah, sorry for the Russian team. Just gotta go back to work, you know. Sorry, boss. Ethan Hunt and his team again.
And they're
No.
still just chasing that U.S. submarine right on their ass. They don't know that we're right behind them, guys. They're taking us
Yeah.
right to the entity. Why did they
Yeah.
U-turn sharply right there?
Before I forget, this is what we talk about non-spoilers. Me and Taylor had a laugh where, okay, so Ethan Hunt and his team, they get down to the cave to spring a trap on Gabriel. Of course, Gabriel's waiting to spring his own trap. That's when he was rock hard, being like, say I fucking won, Ethan. And like, he's like, this guy, he's got a kill switch and all this stuff. Then Kittredge and fucking Jim Phelps Jr. roll up and they have their crew of people. And it's like, oh, we've, you know, outsmarted you both, right? And I thought, oh, this is interesting. Like Kittredge has outsmarted. Like he's got Cruz there and he's got Gabriel there. It's like, wow, this I didn't think Kittredge and his team could pull this off. But then, like as he's walking back and forth, monologuing, just multiple people up in the cliffs just getting assassinated. And I know they do like they cover their mouth, but it's like no one's watching this. Like this is like DEFCON. Like, hey, you keep your fucking eyes everywhere. Their guys are dropping left, right, and there's not. You tell me there's not any sound. Just it's dead. Like there's no audio mixing in these scenes or editing. It's just like dead quiet. Of like, and like he kills the guy and throws him down, and then like Gabriel's team takes over again. So it just felt kind of comedic to me. Of oh, we're here now, and then these guys are like on mute mode, and it just no one's noticing this because like when Cruz and Gabriel were talking, it seems like pretty like in your peripheral view, you would see probably some guy taken out. Like it wasn't much blocking them. So the fact that all these guards that Kittredge brought in were just getting silently taken out by assassin, I was laughing. It's like this is not believable. As much as there's so much stuff like, oh, this is weird to make it happen. And then Kittredge again, odd character where he's just literally, oh, Ethan's a pussy. He won't let his friends die. He's a bitch. He's gonna tell us the truth. And in the end, they're like head nodding, and it's like he just goes like hunches like bitches his back way to the copter to be on the IMF team again. It's like fucking maybe Kittredge should have caught a bullet or something here. You know, like he's such
agree.
against Hunt. It's just like that. There's no payoff there for like, or either you make him catch a bullet or you make Kittredge finally like, fuck, I'm completely wrong. I'm gonna do something to help this team. He doesn't. He just, oh yeah, thanks for that drive. Let's get on the copter. Wait until next time when we disagree and put the world at risk, you know?
Especially that the stakes are so high, you know,
Highest they've ever been.
like the whole thing in this movie is like Hunt's trying to be like, we're not like we're all on the same side here, like it's all of us against the entity, and then you have Kittredge like, I know you bombed the Kremlin, like it just seems like he still like has this bit that like I know you're dirty, I know you're actually dirty, and it's so like cheap. I feel like it's not a good payoff. Like why even bring this guy back to have these moments? Like you should just have a new actor playing this person who's or Jim Phelps' son. Like have him be this person. It's like we can't fucking trust him. He killed my father and put it all on him. Like I would believe that a little bit more.
Your dad was a terrorist, Jim. That doesn't matter. Just
it's all declassified. Yeah, like we have the files. We know exactly what happened. So yeah, I completely agree with you. I think the Kittredge, like initially from, because he came back in Dead Reckoning Part 1. Like that was the first time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, oh, this is a big moment. Like we're getting this character that's been gone since the first film. Not worth the payoff. Where we are now and how it ended. And they don't even really like resolve anything, right? Like it's just
No.
he walks away and we don't see him again.
But that's why I even remember in MI1 though, like he eventually like helps Hunt like clear his name. He's like, oh, like because there's like a call, and then like it's John Voight's being recorded, and then like the speaker speaks up, and it's Kittredge being like, he says something like, oh, I hear you loud and clear, and that's to be like, oh, they call like Ethan Hunt has patched Kittredge's IMF in, John Voight, you're fucked. Like they overheard you saying this stuff, so it's like. The one time he was dirty and Ethan proved himself clean, he's still like, oh, maybe he is dirty. It's just like they didn't even go that far to redeem Kittredge. So yeah, weird scenario again with that. So
For sure.
um,
Last thing else.
What else? My laptop's about to
well,
die,
I
so
think
I
one of
put
the
it on
last
for
things I said is I kind of wished Simon Pegg and Ethan had like a moment to kind of just talk. Just like that, like those were like now that Luther is gone, like they just had the most history amongst each other. So it to me it was a little bit unsatisfying that he went the same way that like someone like Degas or even Grace, right? Like these are new characters, and like Benji, it's almost like that they're all in the same caliber, where I feel like Benji and Ethan are just so much more like tight knit compared to everyone else, even though they are still a team. So to me, I think I wanted a little bit more of a sit down, especially if this is supposed to be, again, I don't believe so, but if this is supposed to be the final moment, I kind of wanted them to have, was it Rogue Nation or Ghost Protocol? I think it was Ghost Protocol, when at the end of the film, like they're all sitting, like, what do we do next? Like, what's our mission? And then, so I think personally I would have wanted the final goodbye to be a little bit like that. I mean, part of me was even like, everyone knows that Ethan saved the day, like in that war room. Like he should be getting all these medals, but also maybe not, because this is the whole idea of the IMF, right? They live and die in the shadows. So I guess the whole world shouldn't know that he was, and like that's kind of highlighted when he's just walking through the town and looking around. Everyone's just on their day to day, not knowing that everything was that close to ceasing to exist.
Get the fuck out of my way, loser! I'm trying to get to work. So,
yeah, exactly, right.
like I
Some
showed
like
the entity.
18-year-old, it's like, get away from me, old man, you fucking.
Yeah, I know you dye your hair, motherfucker. Like, he's like,
Dyeing of the hair is funny. Shay was commenting on that. She's like, he's got to stop dyeing his hair. Like, he's
No,
got to look
man,
like
he's-
Ethan Hunt,
he's
man.
gonna look
Ethan
30
Hunt's
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like, I should let the entity fuck this place up. You know, he's an ungrateful bastard. It's like he
Yeah,
just,
this version of Ethan Hunt is over, and now it's like the villain. It's like the Gabriel, but Ethan Hunt now.
yeah,
moving
he just
forward.
the drive is a thing where it can spread, so he just takes and fucking breaks it on the ground, just goes to New York, just like his smallpox is John Locke, and just it did change me.
he does his Gabriel evil laugh.
Yeah.
I won't play it. The perk angle gets going.
I think I'm out of notes. I'm sure I might think of something, but the good thing is we'll talk about next week on After. I'm sure some. I'd love to get Maddie's because I saw Maddie rated much higher than I would, a 4 out of 5. So I was happy Maddie enjoyed it. But yeah,
Nice.
we'll probably talk about it again. But I think directly, I think I've said everything to say.
Yeah, I don't think I got anything else myself.
I don't have. I'm probably missing something, like you said, but
Yeah.
yeah. No.
Next week, put in your notes for next week after 9.
Exactly.
I'll go because I think I'm probably the lowest. This hurts me. I'm gonna go 5 out of 10. I'm gonna just pass it. That's
You know what
lower
your
than
part one was. Was your
part
part one
one's
a
like a
fail?
7, like a
Okay.
7.
Oh, wow.
I think it was no, it might be 8 because on Letterboxd I was 4. Because like I said, I still think that one functions as a Mission Impossible with like a meh. Not a big fan of this villain. Where this is the villain's movie. It's very much because the Dead Reckoning is still all about like learning what the entity is, right, and building up to, and then eventually you see its AI stuff. Like tons of it's still the mission, and I still, you know, even though he's not much around, I like that actor who plays Degas, but I don't think they gave him much to do. Unfortunately, like I think he's a likable guy. Palm's great. I wish they'd use her more in these. Again, I like Haley Atwell, but I like the Ilsa character more, and she was in there. And yeah, I do like Luther being on the team more, and it just was. I think maybe I would have preferred that too, of him being on the team and dying halfway through instead of just like we only get him for 5-10 minutes and then we'll kill him. So it's like, well, it's just like MI4 where it's like he's just not really that in it. Where I think it would have felt a greater loss if he's in the mission, we lose him mid-mission. But a 5. I will pass it because I don't think I could ever fail a movie that I'd be like, man, that one sequence, one of the best like kind of thrilling action set pieces I've seen. There's other sequences that I do really enjoy, but lots of mess, lots of just like, what was the reasoning for this? I would love to hear them talk about it. Hey, maybe one day I can hear an interview and they'll convince me on Jim Phillips Jr. But to me, that is stuff that just brings it down, bogs it down. And that's where I just like, if I was in that editing room, there's so much like cut there, cut there, cut there. Like there's so much stuff that just feels unnecessary. And like I said, I've never thought that about a Mission Impossible movie other than, you know, maybe 2, but even 2 have had some fun with. This one, I don't see the need to rewatch it anytime soon. And like I said, if I do, it'll be Submarine and on. Like all I need to know, this is what I was saying on spoilers. All for me I would need to know is that Luther's dead. And guess what? They flash back to like Luther giving him the kiss, like, oh, when it's all over, this is like you could put 2 and 2 together, even if you start them with Submarine, like, oh, we lost Luther in between movies, right? You could just say, oh, what or sorry, yeah, we lost. Maybe we lost him too. But Luther, you could just headcan like, oh, we must have lost him. That's really sad for Ethan now. But yeah, a 5. I just can't pass it because I think there's a lot of bad choices, very messy, and the idea to have lots of this movie as like a recap and tied to other movies is very odd. And it just, to me, the pacing of this movie is very, very I'd have to look who edited it. Maybe they've edited the other Mission Impossible movies before, but I think the editing of this movie was, sounds mean, but pretty atrocious. And I think this movie could be, you could go up multiple points to me if you, like we talked about, take off an hour, 45 minutes. I think which is not something I've usually said with Mission Impossible. Even Dead Reckoning, which ran long, I still think there's tons of great stuff in there. So I will just pass this, and I don't think I'll ever fail it because there is some thrilling stuff in here. But yeah, this was a big letdown for me as the ending of the franchise. But luckily, I didn't think it'd be this slow. But like, because I was not the biggest fan of Dead Reckoning and the Entity, I thought, okay, there is a chance this could not be up to my liking. So quickly, Eddie Hamilton's who edited this. I want to see if he's edited any other Mission Impossible movies. He's edited Top Gun Maverick, Fallout, Kingsman. He did Dead Reckoning. He did, what else did he do? Kick-Ass 2. There you go, Taylor. So he's just been doing some more stuff now, but there's, like I said, other movies that I've seen this guy edit, and I thought, oh, something like Fallout, right? That I don't love as much as you guys, but to me, there's another one, Top Gun Maverick. That to me is edited phenomenally. That has great pace in that movie. And maybe this is just a situation too where you can only, if you got 10 pounds and they give you a 1 pound bag, maybe this editor can't do anything. If they're like, no, we need this all in the movie. What do you do with all these flashbacks and all this exposition about
Haley Atwell's cleavage? Dead
yeah,
center.
yeah.
That's
Big shots on Tom's face and make him happy. But yeah, 5 out of 10, just a pass. But not. But I could probably still actively say it's like a bad movie, even though I'm passing it. So, but had a good time with you guys watching it, and there's some good stuff that I'll return to. But overall, definitely a weak point, and it sucks that we're going to end on this one for a bit. So, Taylorfield?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go just a little bit higher than you and probably, 6.5 out of 10.
A little. That's a whole 0.5.
Just a little. It's not doing anything to really keep me drawn in to go back to this. Aside from YouTubing a couple of the really cool sequences, namely just the submarine. Yeah, that one. Yeah, specifically that one. Yeah.
CPR, Final Reckoning scene.
Yeah, it's like Golden
cut.
Geeks. Yeah. It's like, can I pitch the water scene?
scene.
Oh, the submarine, right? No, with Haley, and she comes in.
Haley Atwell, yeah. But yeah, I don't think that there's enough pull here. And to be honest, I'm excited to do our rankings episode, but I'd probably put the Dead Reckoning over this one. I like Dead Reckoning, but that being said, there's not enough pull here, and I've said it many times tonight, the choppiness and the way they've cut up the story is just so messy, and I feel like they're relying on, I don't want to call it a crutch because it's not even a crutch. They're relying on dropping names of characters and expecting people to be like, oh, that's that, but it has no impact on the story.
Jim
Yeah.
Phelps'
There's-
son? Like, who this guy? Whoever, even if it's the director, Christopher McQuarrie, Tom, you gotta start working with him. That would be like, we made 4 good films together. You wrote Top Gun. Now we part ways. Like, whoever's idea that was, to me, that is like a fireable offense, because it's just like, yeah, Jim Phillips' son. Really, that's the poll we're going with. That's gonna be such an odd one as the time goes on.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's not the kind of stuff you do, because you can't rely on that, and you can't expect everyone to get it. The GA, like, they're not gonna be giving a rat's
Jim
ass about
Phelps.
that. Like, god
Holy
damn.
fuck.
Yeah, it's just
Like Ray
stupid.
Skywalker, like, oh, she's a Skywalker now, and like, oh, he's a Phillips now. Look at that. Especially, it's like such an inconsequential character. It's not like Haley Atwell like reveals this, or fucking Benji. It's like this guy who was like character, I don't know, Jay on the spreadsheet last movie, and now he's like character you. Like he's just going down.
It's true. He was like main henchman last movie, and then this
Yeah.
one he's even like a lower role. and then this
Kittredge's
is when they
lackey,
give him,
you know?
this is where they give the reveal.
Yeah.
It would have been better if it was a little bit more low key, like with Fallout, when Vanessa Kirby's character, she's talking and it's like, "Oh, Max, these are Max's kids." It's super subtle, and again, I mean, I don't think I had even seen the first movie, so to kind of connect those dots went over my head. But yeah, I'm not going to be racing to rewatch this movie, and that is a shame because this is supposed to be the like the big sender, and yeah, we didn't really get that, so.
Well, send it over to Kirkland to end us off here.
Yeah, I'll keep the consistent hop train going. I think I'm going to give a 7.5 rating on this movie. Even though it is egregious at times, I was still eating up a lot of the fan service stuff. I not all of it worked for me clearly, but like the one with like the computer guy from the first film, like I just thought that was fantastic, especially when it's like Ethan's like introducing, or like he's introducing himself to Ethan. It's like, don't think we met. Like I loved all those moments, especially just kind of a little wholesome, you know, when he's talking about his wife. Like I probably would still be there and think that I'm satisfied with that life, right? Like it's just a nice, just a really nice moment. I think all the action sequences were phenomenal. It was just like some of the reasons why we were entering those action sequences were questionable, if that makes any sense. But I definitely could have been better. Like this is one where I feel like a couple, like not even major to like the entity. We kind of have to be the entity. You know, they started us here with part one. I understand why we have to have the entity here. I've swallowed that pill. We have the entity, but like, there's a couple small changes that I think really could have made this movie excel. We talked about the Jim Phelps
Phelps
son,
Jr.
and like just something that we've already mentioned with like if we had Ilsa here, like I honestly I think that would have lifted this up like a whole point minimum here. I love Rebecca Ferguson. I also really love Haley Atwell, but just for the story purposes of what that character means to the character of Ethan Hunt.
Both of them resuscitating Ethan in that scene together
On both sides.
No, Christopher, what if we bought Haley back and Rebecca, Michelle Monaghan too? Remember Julia from number 3? Yeah. What about, and remember that model that you shot in the last movie? Let's bring her back too. It's just like, like 10 hands. It's like a Bond, like opening. It's like just like reviving Ethan.
And then when he wakes up, it's just Ving Rhames the whole time.
Ethan, I revived you by pulling your cock. I hope that's all right.
Come
Aren't you
to
dead?
me, amor.
Aren't you dead, Luthen? No.
Luthen again, name dropping.
Fuck,
Stellan
it's a
Skarsgård.
tough week, you know. It's
Yeah.
a late review here, but yeah.
So yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. I remember my little shout out there when he comes to the aircraft carrier for the first time. Tom Cruise on an aircraft carrier. Of course, my mind just goes Top Gun, and it literally just shows a couple like F-18s just going off. I'm like waiting for Danger Zone to just start playing.
I said to Taylor, they should play it there, and like sort of like, welcome back, Maverick. It's like, fuck, it's the same guy. It's the same fucking guy.
There's so many actors in this that were in so many,
Yeah,
probably
the
like a
fucking-
couple, but
the
still.
fist guy, whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So
Yeah.
I just kind of had a kick out of that. I'm glad I remember.
It actually, is it anyone just other than the fist guy?
Degas. He was.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's.
I completely forgot.
What's his name? I can't remember his call sign, but he's the one that blacks out. Remember, and then he like almost dies.
You're 100%
and
on
then-
that?
I'm 100% on
pizza
that.
bet.
I'm
Well, it's
like
a risky 12:30 a.m.
68%
pizza
sure
bet.
that is the.
I'll
the
find
case.
out. I'm gonna click on it. Yeah, 68. That's not pizza bet worthy here. Let me find out. We'll find before we go off air.
I'm
'cause if
pretty
not-
darn sure. I would pizza
Craig
bet. I would pizza.
What a name.
I would-
Craig Tarzan Davis.
Yeah, Tarzan. There you go.
Holy fuck. Yeah, he
Personal
is in there.
size.
He's Coyote.
There you go. You get a pizza.
There you go,
Yeah.
guys.
He's
So,
no,
yeah.
I didn't bet that. I didn't say shit. So
But yeah, no, 7.5. I think that rating will definitely change on future viewings, just because it'll bug me a lot more.
it's gonna dip, man. Then when you watch again and you get that.
I mean,
Jim
same thing
Phelps
happened with
song-
Dead Reckoning. Like the first time I watched Dead Reckoning, I hated the entity, but like I was still really hot off of like the scenes, which
Yeah,
this
'cause
same thing.
You don't on the rewatch always go to that big theater too to help those like massive set pieces that like raise you up, because then you're in the theater like, oh, you're like The Rock, like chills, like look at this
Yeah,
fucking
sure.
airplane, look at Tom Cruise, he's backflipping and all, you know. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, well, that's it. Like I said, we'll probably definitely talk about this on After Night next week if some people have seen it, because I'll be curious to get other people's opinions on this, because it's definitely one that we all anticipated. But alas, we hope you enjoyed this review. This was a fun one to record, and that's a good thing. That's why I love this podcast. That maybe on the whole, the movie's a little disappointing for me, but after talking about it, we had a good time, so it all feels worth it. And yeah, let us know, Discord, YouTube, Patreon, wherever, how you thought about the movie. And yeah, we'll be back next week. I guess the next time you'll hear from us is Last of Us finale, and it will not be boring.